What's happening, everyone? My name is Brian. That is Shane. I literally dove into this chair as the countdown ended.
What is what is with the red light special? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and I looked at the time and it was like, there's a minute left. No problem.
A minute? You tried to go to the bathroom with a minute left?
Oh my god, I barely made it. I'm pretty
It's
sure
crazy.
I'm pretty sure on the way to my chair, I'm just like I was dribbling on the way to the chair.
We don't want to know that. We don't want to know that.
Okay, listen up, everyone. Listen up, everyone. Thank you for being here. And if you're on the member section, thank you for being a member. What we are talking about today.
Wait, I want to know what's with the red light special first.
You know what?
Oh my.
I'm trying to catch my breath. So
you want me to talk for a second? I'll help you out.
yeah, go ahead. Talk for a second.
Well, hello, you beautiful people out there. We've got, if you're sitting in the stream right now, please give this this video a thumbs up. I see we got some people watching, so give it a thumbs up so we can have the YouTube algorithm let everybody else know that we are about to talk about Picard. I think we're one of the first live streams to talk about the Picard season 2 finale and Strange New Worlds premiere. Probably the only channel doing it right now. So let's let everybody know by clicking that thumbs up, and let's say hello while we're here. We've got Jeremy Schneider in the chat. We got Archmage Frey. We've got the Random Menace. Thank you for the super chat. He says, Wheaton. By the way, midnight is in 50 minutes. So thank you for staying up with us, Random Menace. We appreciate you.
Hey guys, this is how I feel about Wheaton last night. Oh, you can't see it. Let me fix that. You can't hear it. It's just too good. It's just too good. I want to make sure. You need to make sure that you can hear that. Okay, I'm gonna try.
Oh, I can hear it.
Oh,
I can hear it.
All right.
Finally, after a year plus, I can hear it.
Yeah, it only took a year. Here, this is how I feel right now about Will Wheaton last night.
These things are ruining my childhood. They're taking everything that mattered to me and they're fisting it. Oh, look. Oh, hey, look. Oh, here, there's more for you.
That's not his voice, right?
Yeah, it is.
Is it really?
Let me tell you something. I found a video of Will Wheaton that he had unlisted.
Really?
And he made the mistake of filming the majority of the video on a green screen.
Oh, so everybody could just pop it in wherever they wanted to. Nice. Just like you did right there. So he's in your office complaining right now.
Yeah. Yeah, he is, bro.
I love it.
Let me break it down. Yes, we are talking about Picard season finale. Yes, we are talking about Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the premiere episode. We're talking about Star Trek 4, Zachary Quinto, a lot of Star Trek. We're talking about Dave Chappelle, the Obi-Wan trailer, Lon Noonien Singh, and Thor, Love and Thunder. A lot of good stuff today. But of course, the coup de grace, the light on a shining hill, that is the the finale of...
that's not fair. That's not fair to say dumpster fire.
I'm so sorry.
No,
but I was so disappointed.
But it's not fair. No, be disappointed, but you can't say that it didn't end semi-satisfactorily.
Well, satisfactory as in, the laziest possible way, but at least they wrapped it up. Sure.
It ended better than season 1.
Yeah, okay. So the bar was set so low. When season 1, there was no mention of space monsters. In the last episode, boom.
Yes. We still got the same thing.
Monsters.
We still got Mass Effect space monsters at the end of this episode with the same rushing quality, but I'm sure we'll get there.
Right. Okay. So we are going to talk about that. All right. Jeremy Spider, the smile on Wesley Crusher's face reminded me of the 10th grade boy getting lucky for the first time. Yeah.
Oh, dude. If you watch the after show, like what do they call it? The Ready Room?
Ready Room.
He was just a poop grin eating dude.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to make this all about me, but...
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, dude, this is how disappointing it was. Okay. Yesterday, I'm listening to the soundtrack for Picard. And you know, sometimes you listen to the soundtrack and you don't listen to the whole thing or you're not paying attention. But in this moment, I'm really paying attention because I'm waiting for my kids to get back in the car. And at the end of the soundtrack, the track called The Travelers, which was going to air tonight, I hear the TNG theme. Dun, 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 dun. I'm like, holy crap. Our theory was right. And I don't want to kill this, but real quick. Our theory was right. TNG's coming back. And I shared it with Shane. I was so excited. I was so cocky. I was throwing around you guys are going to owe me money to the salty guys. The TNG crew is coming back. And I even
it was getting thick.
Yeah, I jokingly told Shane, it's either Will Wheaton as the Traveler, which we know that's not going to happen, or the TNG crew is coming back. It can't be anything else.
Well, they called it the Travelers.
When Will Wheaton showed up, I was in the middle of watching it. Will Wheaton shows up, and I stop, I pause, I text Shane, no!
Yes.
After this, I was going to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't going to watch the show yet. I actually, at that point, stayed up late because I was going to watch it in the morning. And I'm like, oh, I got to find out what he's saying no for. And then I got to the point. Let's be clear about Will Wheaton on something here, and Wesley Crusher specifically, because I see over here that Gray has mentioned, are we disappointed? This is what I'll tell you. Brian and I have two totally different takes on Wesley Crusher. So we were talking about this earlier. I started watching TNG when I was 14. That's when it came out. And Wesley Crusher was me on board the bridge of the Enterprise. So I love the character Wesley Crusher. Brian started watching TNG when he was an adult because he wasn't allowed to watch TV as a young guy.
I grew up in an Amish household.
Something like that. And so he has a different viewpoint on Wesley Crusher's character than I do. I love Wesley Crusher, but we have personal experience with Will Wheaton, the actor, further on down the line. So we're not exactly fans of his specifically, but Wesley Crusher showing up at the show, I personally had no problem with it. It was nice. I thought it was somewhat pointless, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but it wasn't a bad thing to see him.
Yeah.
If that helps.
Just to be clear, we actually had personal dealings with the actor that played Wesley Crusher.
Right.
That when I first regarded Wesley Crusher, it was Wesley Crusher, the character. I was like, whatever, take him or leave him. But then when I had that, when we had that experience with Will Wheaton, it was more like, oh, take him or leave him, definitely leave him. Because now the actor influenced the character.
We have more of a Will Wheaton problem, I guess, than a Wesley Crusher problem. Nothing wrong with Wesley. They make fun of him, of course, but Will, anyways, we're not going to get into it here. But the point is that the reason why we're disappointed was the wrong TNG people showed up in the episode.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it more later. We fully expected the main crew of the Enterprise to come back, and we'll tell you why. You guys probably know since we've been talking about it, but we'll get into it.
Yeah, we definitely expected the main crew. Okay, anyways. All right.
We'll get into it. Yeah.
Okay. So firstly, Shane, before we get into the good stuff here, what's going on with you this week? Because I haven't really spoken to you outside text messages since our video on Tuesday.
Yeah, a lot of things are going on. So right now I am trying to get my house ready because we're going to try to sell it. And so I've got a lot of projects going on at the house and a lot of things trying to make it better so it's sellable. So I got that going on this week. Plus we're trying to get to 3 videos a week on the Popcast Prime channel. So we're trying to go like Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday releases with Strange New Worlds, with the Orville, with Kenobi, with a bunch of stuff upcoming. We need to get more videos out. So we're kind of making this transition. Plus we're doing the live show. Plus we're doing this stuff. Plus we've got regular business stuff. So it's been really busy for me and you, I know. So sorry we didn't get to talk much this week.
It's okay, bro. You know I love you.
Yeah, what's up with you, man?
Trying to get 3 videos, prepare for a live show. I have to clip all these inserts. That's what we call, like, when you see this.
Oh my.
That's called an insert, right? We use those in our videos. We use those now on the live stream. And generally speaking, it's very easy to get an insert. However, when you got to get like 300 of them, it becomes a serious chore. And I figured out a way to load up a bunch of them at the same time into my editor and then just sort of auto add regions and then batch render. And I thought it was going to be a great idea until I figured out that it was going to take my computer like 6 hours to do that automatically. So the time I've been spending in editors lately has been intense. And I was arguing with Adobe recently on Twitter because After Effects, which is a very expensive program, refuses to use my GPU to render, and it took 14 hours to render an animation for our last video. So
That's not cool at all.
no, and they're like, "Hey, you should try enabling your GPU." I'm like, "Oh yeah, because I didn't think of that. Didn't think of hitting the enable button."
You've
Anyway,
been sitting behind the desk all week.
yeah, all week, bro,
Okay.
all week.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I really understand. Oh, also, we need to put out today, we do have a sponsor for today's video. We're not going to get deeply into it yet. We'll talk a little bit more about them later. But if you guys haven't tried Liquid IV, it's like the replacement sports drink that you'll wish you've always had. We'll be talking about more later in the show. You can use our coupon code, the Popcast, for 25% off. We'll talk about that more a little later.
Yes, we will. And you like how
What's
I got
up over
that
here with the
seamless
peeps?
animation? Did you see that seamless
I
animation?
like that. That was nice, dude. You got to like at the tip of your fingers.
I was so proud of myself. Anyways, yeah, hit the members up, man.
So let's see what we got going on here. Archmage Frey says, I expect to be here until midnight with all the Trek conversations. There's a lot of Trek today, mother. I got to be honest with you. A lot of Trek.
A lot of Trek.
Let's see. Jerry Schneider, the smile on Wesley Crusher's face reminded me of a 10th grade boy getting lucky. Okay, you said that already. That's true. Gray was so happy to see Will Wheaton. He cried. I felt that the season finale made it for all the dumb stuff. Now we're going to talk about that because we also agree that there were elements of the season finale that definitely were done well, and there were some things, missed opportunities. But I think overall we're satisfied with the conclusion to some degree.
Yeah. You know what makes up for it
right there.
I'll tell you what makes up for it. A Strange New World premiere.
A Strange New World premiere, and I think Q had a good send off, but I don't want to.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that. Okay, let's quickly talk about some news that just happened because we do. What's up?
Well, let me finish going through these guys.
Oh, you were still doing that. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, we're still looking here.
Yeah,
We got the peeps. We want to talk to them.
Sure.
Let's see.
Oh my.
We're brothers. Yes, we are brothers. Jeremy explained that. We grew up in different homes. So Brian did not get to watch TV. And when I would come visit, I wasn't allowed to watch TV. So I just wouldn't come back and visit very often.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
yeah, Shane showed up once when he was like 13. And then he was told he can't watch TV. And he was like, oh, cool. I'll see you when you're an adult, bro.
yeah. I love you, man, but yeah, we're not going to hang because I'm not staying at this crazy house.
Yeah, and then I literally didn't see Shane for like, what, 12 years after that?
I joined the Navy, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, because you joined the Navy.
I mean, you saw me up until I joined the Navy, but I'd come once a year or whatever. But
yeah, once a year or so. So even though we're brothers, we didn't actually grow up together. We grew up in different households, sort of far away, and we didn't see each other very often. Although in some ways that might be good for our relationship because we hooked up as adults and we had so much in common, without any of the baggage of beating each other up, in high school or whatever,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Gray says here he was forced to watch TNG when he was 8 years old. His dad said he would like it. He didn't want to watch it. It changed his life, and he's been a Trekkie ever since. And number one love of my life. Yes, that totally makes sense. And it makes sense why you would love Wesley Crusher because you were a young guy. Wesley was a young guy. I understand. I identified.
Okay.
Are we good there? Do we got to explain? Do we got the Wesley Crusher stuff out?
I mean, no, I'm never going to have the Wesley Crusher stuff out. Yeah, I started watching TNG when I was like 18, 19 or whatever. So I didn't identify with Wesley Crusher. I probably more identified with Riker. Okay.
I think you were identifying with Deanna Troy. That's what I think.
So speaking of,
Who am I supposed to identify with in this movie?
you guys understand? I have such good ones.
You have some good ones there.
Oh, I have some really good ones. I have one where he makes fun of himself by accident.
Let's go into it then, huh?
Yeah, man. Let's talk about Dave Chappelle. Let me just figure this out. Oh, it's not good.
Yeah, so we got some weird news. Dave Chappelle was basically attacked on stage on Tuesday night over at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles. A man ran up and tackled him during his performance. It was at the end of his performance. This has been a really weird story. It's not like the first time somebody's been attacked, but it's been weird because they've been like associating it with the Will Smith thing. So it's gotten this weird thing,
right.
Like they're the guy who attacked him, the guy who ran up and he tackled him, apparently was carrying a replica gun. So it wasn't a real gun, but it could eject a real knife blade if it was discharged correctly. So it was unclear if he made an attempt to use the weapon, but Dave Chappelle's life was actually in danger during that moment.
Yeah, and there's a camera angle where it just shows Dave and all of his friends beating the crap out of the guy.
Yeah. He got beat up really bad afterwards.
And then Dave comes out, he's like, yeah,
players.
I just stomped a dude in the back.
No, it was pretty ugly. That guy is going to regret doing what he did. But apparently, apparently it was a trans man, and it was over, of course, Dave Chappelle's comedy special where he was insensitive to trans people or whatever he's got going on with the whole thing. But so apparently this person attacked him. LAPD arrested. The man's name is Isaiah Lee. And he's being arrested for a felony assault. What's interesting is that I think afterwards there was some sort of Chris Rock was there, which made it more interesting because I think Chris Rock turned around and told Dave Chappelle, "Was that Will Smith?" but now people are kind of like people are actually saying, well, wait, Will Smith, he got to go back and sit down in his seat after he assaulted someone on stage, but this guy got his butt stomped and then got thrown in jail.
Right.
So,
yeah, I think it's I think that this had to happen, and it had to happen publicly. Now, I feel sorry for the guy that got beat up a little bit, but
I don't. No.
Let me explain. I feel sorry that he suffered injury, but he deserved it.
I mean, you don't attack somebody on stage without getting your. I mean, listen, if Chris Rock was any bigger, he would have beat the crud out of Will Smith on stage instead of Will Smith walking back to his seat. Maybe,
right.
Maybe not.
Right. But if they would have killed that dude, it wouldn't have been their fault. It would have been his fault for rushing the stage with what appears to be a weapon.
Right. Well, there was probably at a point, and this may still come out if they got video footage of it. There might have been a point where they had him subdued. If they were still jacking him up after they had him, taken down and out, these aren't cops we're talking about here. These are actually private citizens, part of his hired security. So they could be brought up on charges even if he did something wrong, which is kind of weird. But
so on that note, the reason it had to happen was because there had been, since the Will Smith thing, there was some weird, aggression toward comedians and people saying things they don't want to say. Very weird. Since that happened, people were like, "Oh, well, Will can do it. I can do it," which is, by the way, that's not accurate. Will could do whatever he wants because he's a billionaire. You can't. Clearly,
or a millionaire, whatever he is.
Right. Whatever he is, a trillionaire. Whatever it is, you can't do what he can do. So this had to happen publicly so that the dummies out there that were considering some kind of hostile aggression towards someone on stage would be like, oh yeah, that dude's in the hospital, so I'm not going to do that.
That didn't turn out so well.
Yeah. So, hey, no one died. Guy was made an example of. Bing, bang, boom. Cool.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens as that goes forward. But Dave Chappelle's fine. He came out and finished the show. Everybody thought that was pretty coul.
Absolutely.
That he actually came back out. And we'll see what happens going forward. No more attacking comedians on stage, guys. Okay.
Every comedian is just going to do nothing but live streams.
They're being carrying weapons on stage with them, right? Waiting for somebody to bum rush them.
Jeremy said law enforcement announced a few hours ago that felony charges would not be pursued against the attacker.
Oh, interesting. Ooh. I guess Dave must have canceled him.
Right.
That's really the only way.
Yeah, I mean,
Because the guy had a weapon.
yeah, you got beat up enough when I got.
He probably's like, yeah, that was probably bad enough. And he probably doesn't want any more like anger from the trans community. He's like, okay, I'm done with that.
Right. Okay. Are you ready, Shane?
Oh, wait, is it happening? Is now the moment?
It's
That
time.
we've been waiting for?
It's time to talk about Picard. So,
All right, I'm down. Let's go.
real quick question. Is everyone gone to the bathroom? You have your drink? You're ready to go? This is going to be a long conversation. We got the news out of the way. We're going to talk about Picard and Strange New Worlds. It's going to be a long one. Is everyone ready?
Yeah, I better stop slowing. I better slow down on my drinking.
Oh, speaking of, it is Cinco de Mayo. It was the Picard finale, and I have a ton of Klingon blood wine over here, so
Ooh.
might get weird. I'm just saying, might get weird. All right, let's talk about Picard, dude.
All right, let's talk about it.
Let's jump into this over here. Okay, we open up with Picard. Chateau Picard. They're there. Why are they there? Because Gerardi Borg Queen, took off on her ship and left them there, stranded, right?
Yep.
And they're like, you know what? I guess it's fine. We're gonna stop this guy from doing harm, and then we're just gonna live our lives out here in the 21st century. Apparently, they were just ready to do that. They were already making plans, which I found interesting. Now, one thing that I was very right on, and thankfully, one thing this season I was right on, was Not Loris did use her hologram tech to save Renee's life and sacrifice herself in the process.
I think it's a we statement on that one, but yeah, okay.
It's a what?
I think that was a we statement on being right about something. We were right on that idea.
Okay, but I'm the one who brought up to you that the 8-hour trigger.
Right, but you never. So what happened is when we saw the preview, or we saw the end of Picard season 9, they said, "Hey, one Renee has to die, one has to go." Then we saw the preview for 10, and we saw Not Loris in the space outfit, and that's what gave it away.
But I said the tech
It was a team effort.
It was a team effort. But I did tell you that the hologram tech is going to come into play. Why else would they explain it in the first place?
Hey, listen, I don't know, but you just keep taking credit for all my ideas. I don't know what to do.
Hold up.
I don't know. I gotta break this down.
Okay, you know what,
but I do want to say
it was totally your idea that the TNG crew is going to come back.
No. See, yeah, there you go. So, yeah, that's what I was about to give back to you. I'm like, but it's all your idea on the TNG.
I beat you to it.
Damn you.
Okay, so what's going on here? We are in. They're trying to formulate a plan on how to stop Adam Soong. Here's a problem. I have a couple problems with this. Like,
okay.
So in stopping Adam Soong, there is no branch.
Right. Adam Soong is the reason why the future changes, apparently. So the Europa mission not going through is the reason why the Soong thing happens. So it's not that Soong has to be stopped. It's that the Europa mission needs to succeed, so that Soong in the future, society will look to him for, to save them because of his tech.
Shane, I don't understand.
Well, I mean, okay. So apparently, yeah, there was some weird stuff there. I mean, I felt like Canon got a little messed with, because in this episode, we learned that Rios's adopted son now, I guess the little boy,
right,
will eventually grow up to invent something that saves the oceans. And he uses the life form that's brought from Europa to use that to create tech to clean the air in the oceans of Earth.
Right.
So which, I don't know. I was a little tripping on that, because nuclear weapons are going off. And what's that?
Yeah, which wouldn't have happened if Rios didn't come back and be his
right. So
and
he wouldn't have known these things. Yeah, it's like, so it makes you wonder, did Rios staying back change the future in some way? Because I mean, granted, we don't know a lot about what happened after World War III and nuclear war, which occurred in 2026, 2 years after this show. So Rios and all those guys experienced, like everybody who stayed behind. That was great seeing the pictures of Rios and they're out in the truck and they're hanging out and everybody's having a great time. Well,
Right.
2 years later, there were nuclear bombs going off all over the world.
Right.
So yeah, so I don't know. It was a little bit weird there.
Yeah. Okay. So explain that though to all the people that aren't, aren't as invested in Trek as we are here. In 2 years, it's World War III, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, nuclear weapons, Colonel Green, the whole nine yards. Yeah, it's the beginning of the end of that civilization so that we can then, 30 years, I think it's 30 years later, we invent warp drive technology in the 2050 something.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, that's what's happening. But apparently this kid is the reason why we were able to get through World War III, because he cleaned the oceans and the air with his invention that Rene Picard brought back from Europa, which we've never heard of before. Some life form that gave us technology. It just is, it's a lot of, changing canon, but it's not really changing canon. It's like adding to it, but in a way that's like, oh, well, we found this life form on Europa. That's something I feel like we should have known before. But yeah.
Yeah, but that's not the worst part. The worst part is that there's a World War III that takes place for 30 years.
Well, we don't know how long it goes on for.
Until 2050, right?
Well, we know that Cochrane invents the warp drive and goes in the first warp test in the 2050s.
And
but we don't know how long. What's that?
And we do know the world is absolutely a shambles in 2050.
Well, we know it's not. We don't know if it's been recovering, obviously. It's not still like a destroyed. I mean, I don't know. We really don't know. All we get is that one landing where we come in from that Star Trek movie, from First Contact. That's all we really have of that time frame.
Right.
Other than the Enterprise stuff that shows some video footage. We don't see a lot. Oh, actually, we saw some in Strange New Worlds, which we're not talking about yet. Actually, that's not true. Strange New Worlds gave us video evidence of what happened during World War III, which we'll talk about here in the next segment.
Yeah. So the problem I have overall here is that, World War III happens. They act like it's just like a blip, when it's definitely not a blip. It's like what unites the planet eventually, and it's super devastation. So you have Picard, who treats it sort of like a blip in history, and then Strange New Worlds leans on it, rightfully so, literally an hour later. And I don't understand. The timing doesn't seem to fit. Rios knew there was going to be a World War III and he stayed behind anyways. I'm literally like 2 years later, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. The, they're saying, okay, so it was called a post-atomic horror. So somebody in the chat, Daniel's Hot Topics, is saying, I thought World War III started in 2050 and ends in 2063. World War III went from 2026 to 2053, according to everything that we've found. It was the last of Earth's three world wars. The conflict involved a nuclear cataclysm as well as genocide from eco-terrorism, which we've gone through quite a bit. They called it the post-atomic horror. And they're saying that war could have lingered as late as 2079. Even through the time that Cochrane did his warp drive. No,
the second Civil War wasn't the Bell Riots, was it?
Oh, the third Civil? You mean the second Civil War?
Yeah, without the Bell Riots.
Well, we're getting to Strange New Worlds. Maybe we should save that for them.
Yeah, we'll save that.
Yeah, because they talk about it.
That's right. Because that's adding a Civil War that we never even.
They added a Civil War in Strange New Worlds, which may not be a bad thing considering what's happening right now in the world, and that we're very divided. And who knows what could potentially happen? I guess maybe 2025 there's a Civil War, which then leads to to World War III.
All right, whatever. All right, moving on. All right, we got to this ridiculously long intro. And then, okay, now here, the Europa mission. So initially, Not Loris did not want to, Not Loris said, I'm going to go save Renee. And Picard jumps into the stream with her because he's worried about her life, rightfully so. And I'll tell you why. Why Picard jumped into the teleport smoke thing with her. Because what else is Picard going to do?
He wasn't going to Soong's house, that's for sure.
Right. So I do feel that a lot of this season, the writers have been trying to find something for Picard to do. And he doesn't really seem to be driving the narrative himself, even though the show is about him, right?
No, it's 100% about him, and I would argue that this season they did a better job of putting the focus on him. I don't know. The way everything sort of wraps up, it does make sense. And when I look at it, from the big picture aspect, even though the season was extraordinarily slow and there were elements of it that they definitely could have done better, I do feel like it satisfactorily not only gives us more information about the character, but wraps up something that's been a character trait and allows him to move forward. And that's not a bad thing.
Okay. That's fair. All right. So he tries to stop her. There's other ways to do it, blah, 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 blah. So they did say that his influence is, Q said at some point that the only timeline where she gets to meet Renee was this one, was the one that he was involved in.
I really hate that, actually. I hate that they said that, because it was just a way to make Picard feel better about her dying. And I just didn't think it was necessary, so he was basically telling Picard, well, it's okay that she died because she always dies, and it was kind of like, we just live in a world right now where we got to really worry about people's feelings so much that, that they have to create something so that he'll feel better, that he was in the only timeline where something good ever happened. It just seems crazy.
And this is the problem with this whole season, is the timeline doesn't make any sense. It's like what you're saying is that Picard is necessary for the timeline to go forward in the right direction, but you need the timeline to go forward in the right direction so for there to be a Picard and crew that go back and fix the problem in the first place.
Oh, you're going to try to break our brain right now.
It doesn't make any sense, okay? When First Contact dealt with time travel, there was a very clear start. They defeated the Borg, or part of the Borg. They won that battle, and the Borg cube, in a desperate attempt to say, in a Hail Mary, they're like, F it. The Borg Queen jumps onto a little Borg sphere and takes off and creates a time tunnel to Earth, because they were close to Earth, right?
Yeah.
And the Enterprise follows in the wake of that time jump and discovers, and while the wake is happening, they actually are doing scans and it shows that Earth is all Borg, and they follow them back to the past. They stop that from happening. So they show for a second the alternate timeline. They see what's going to happen. They stop it from happening and they go back to their time. There was a clear start to the time change and a clear end. So that little branch that they were seeing in when they were traveling in the wake, they were able to snip off.
Yeah.
There's no start to this. In fact, what you're telling me is that Picard is so important to his own future that he has to travel back to create his future. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, they made a mistake. I know exactly what you're talking about. They made a big mistake. So this is Q pulling him out of time. Now, all of the wonderful theories that we've had that totally make sense about the self-destruct, creating an alternate timeline, is all freaking shenanigans, because what they showed us after the countdown happened, they showed us the explosion. Okay, right. Follow me on this one. They showed us the explosion. If time stops at the moment he pulls them out, let's say he pulls them out 1 second before it explodes, Q pulls them out before it explodes. And then he returns them, arguably too soon. He returned them 10 seconds before it was going to, the 10-second countdown.
Right.
But then they go forward and show us the explosion as if time went forward. So that means that Q snapped them out of time, right, before the explosion. But it's a mistake. They shouldn't have showed us the explosion. This explosion should never occur, because it doesn't occur. He pulls them out of time before the explosion happens.
Right.
Okay, then he moves them into an alternate timeline of no one's necessary creation. They took us to an alternate, Q took us to an alternate reality, not an alternate timeline. Not really. Because there was nothing. He created it out of a whim, right? Moved these guys into this timeline. They traveled back in time, had nothing to do with Q, right? They traveled back in time. And then Q, once they fixed the whole problem with Soong, he snaps his fingers and he puts him right back up in time. So, you know, he wasn't important to his own future. It was merely Q shenanigans the whole time.
Well, and how did Jaborgi get there in the first place then? If they had not yet traveled back? Because remember when they traveled back to that point, Girardi wasn't with them.
Right. Because, yeah, so she comes from now an alternate reality. They broke through a time barrier. Remember, we still have not addressed this. The show has not addressed this. The Borg came through a time portal. Okay, because we talked about it, how all of the timey-wimey elements of Star Trek are thrown in there as far as tachyons and that other thing that I can't remember, but it's all time stuff. So they broke through some sort of time barrier from an alternate reality or alternate universe of Q's creation, right? So Q's just snapping people around because the time frame of this, the time travel of this does not make any sense officially.
No, yeah, don't.
Right? So there is no beginning. The beginning is Q. The end is Q. That's it. That's it. And I'll go ahead and tell you exactly what I believe. And is anybody curious as to why this whole season has felt different? Like this interaction with Q has felt different than what we normally get. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, because he's dying?
Okay, no, it's because ordinarily Q's interference in Picard's life has always come in the form of creating an alternate reality that we ultimately believe to be fantasy.
Okay.
Whether it's Robin Hood, right? Whether it's the trial of humanity, whether it's the multiple timelines in the final episode of TNG, we never felt like something unalterable may be occurring. We always felt like it was a fantasy or something different. Picard season 2 changes all this. Q, this does not feel like a fantasy. It feels like now we're operating in a changed reality. Whereas all of the other interactions with Q, it always feels like some sort of pocket universe, pocket thing that's happening that Q has created.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's the difference. This is real. It feels real. And that's why everything doesn't feel the same.
Okay.
And so Q's it's just Q shenanigans.
This is why I loaded this up because this is how I feel about this.
Is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Oh, you're talking about what I just said?
No. What you trying to explain? What
happened?
What happened makes no sense.
I mean,
I
it doesn't.
Sorry for you because you're really trying to explain, and the only answer is Q stuff, and that is like the laziest possible way to explain it, right?
Yeah, no, it is. They could have done some really cool stuff here, but it's basically in the end, it's just Q snapping people around. And how did he get his power back at the very end?
No. He said there's no. So we got that part is covered.
Okay.
Because he said there's just enough juice left for this. And then when Rios is like, "Oh, I'm gonna take off," he's like, "Oh, well, if he's leaving, I got a little surprise for you." Like that, like because he's not gonna be there, he can give a little more before he finishes.
I see. Okay. Well, all right. It seems kind of janky, but okay.
It's super janky, bro. It's super janky. This whole thing is janky.
It's janky.
Again, so what you're telling me is basically Q is the one who, to save Picard from an alternate version of Jaborgi, who is ultimately just trying to do the right thing, but he saves him, and then he goes back in time and he makes moves to create the corrupt timeline so that Picard can go back in the past and meet said Borg to fix the timeline and meet, and see the creation of Jaborgi so that when they go back to the future, he can do the right thing.
Yeah, and I think the one thing really missing from this is showing us Q changing the timeline. You know, I think we probably needed to see, because he doesn't really quite do it, does he?
Yeah, he does
You
stuff
know?
with Adam Soong, and you're like, yo, what's his purpose for that? Like,
But it doesn't really see itself through. So it's like he changed the timeline, then he goes back. It's weird because did he change the timeline? So he changes it. He goes forward and he meets Picard in the future of the.
yeah, we saw things
thing.
out of order.
Well, what I'm saying is so I guess he went back and changed it. Picard, he went up and he's like, you know, saying you did this, blah, blah, blah. Picard goes back in time at the moment that Q is changing things. But during that time frame that Q is supposed to be changing things, he ends up helping Picard to stop it from being changed. You know, I don't know. Woo.
Oh
Let's just focus on
my.
Picard. Let's just focus on Picard as a little boy. Okay.
Okay. And
Be better.
and the whole Picard as a little boy thing drives me nuts because
I mean,
like,
it's not that bad. I
you
mean,
know,
it is
this
bad
is why
because-
it's bad. This is why it's bad because there is so much missing.
Yeah,
Like, we're not seeing everything we need to see to understand this. But while you should be showing us the things that help us understand it, instead we're seeing this little Picard boy running around in these flashbacks. Oh my!
I mean,
God.
okay, let's be fair.
What
They
was-
just had too many of them. So it's not
Yes.
that it wasn't necessary to have it, right? I mean, you had to have it. If you wanted to show Picard, the reason why Picard has always been closed off, and listen, true to his character, he does not like, I mean, that great episode where he goes to Ryza and he meets the girl thief who he kind of gets romantic with.
Oh yes, yeah.
I mean, we get to delve deeply into his character and the fact that he does not like to be embarrassed. He doesn't like to put himself out there. And it all stems back from this thing that happened to him when he was a kid. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the problem is you just took too many episodes to flesh it out. And while this entire season is about Picard, the finale episode had so much stuff crammed inside of it that we just didn't even get really great explanations for everything. And it's just kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
boom, here you go. Here you go. We're going to answer this. We tie everything all together in like the last 30 minutes of the show.
Yeah, let me answer this question for you with Q. Let me answer this other question for you with Q. And then he goes to see Guinan, and she knew the whole time and didn't give him any heads
I'm
up.
so sorry. It's hard for me. Yeah. And now let me ask you this question. Does the 1800s happen now? So when Data loses his head, does that happen? Because now I'm so confused because it didn't happen. So then wouldn't Guinan have met Picard for the first time twice?
Right.
So-
Jesus.
You see what I'm saying? It's just like,
Okay,
time
well,
travel.
we're gonna get to that point. Let's go. All right, so okay. Reset. Rafi, Seven, and Rios. They're gonna, while Picard and not Lars are gonna go to the Europa mission and deal with that. They're going to Adam Soong's lab to deal with Adam Soong. When they get there, they hear Adam Soong's voice telling the computer to do stuff. I hated this so much. I'm going to explain why. And they realize it's a recording, but the voice was actually telling the computer to do stuff as a failsafe.
Oh, yes.
Okay. You don't need a recording to tell the computer to do stuff. That's stupid.
But it was like trickery. It was TV trickery. That's what it was.
I'm going to record my voice telling the computer to do stuff instead of just programming the computer to do it.
A plot device, man. That's all it
It's a
is.
stupid plot device.
To create suspense.
Here's the deal. This is the problem, though. Okay. Look, I have been a vastly huge protector of Picard. I have tried to explain every single possible thing with logic. Now that it's over, and a lot of the logical conclusions that Shane and I came up with to explain didn't happen, now I can be a little more annoyed because plot devices are fine when they're hidden, when they're clever.
Yes.
It's not fine when anyone can realize it's a plot device. That's lazy. That's super lazy.
Right.
And the
Yes.
type of fans that watch Star Trek are smart people. Most of us
Yes.
are smart, or at least we understand science fiction. Maybe I'm not smart, but I understand science fiction. And this, when like the second they realized the recording, I'm like, well, that's dumb. That's not required. None of that's possible. And I realized it's a plot device, and it immediately took me out of the moment right there and annoyed me immediately.
Yeah. I mean, in the big scheme of things, it doesn't really matter to what's happening, but it does. There is a lot of that. And so it gets to be kind of, it's kind of an irritating. You want, like we said before, they like to tell us instead of show us.
Right.
And they had to come up with a way to make everybody think that Soong was in that room, was like, oh, the intense, they're about to kill Soong. Soong's right there. Oh, it's his computer. It's his voice. Was it even necessary? They could have like showed up, looked for him, and then realized, oh my gosh, and see all this tech here, and then explain the tech instead of having Soong's voice, right?
Shane, they could have done what they've done since the 60s, and they could have had a countdown running on one of the monitors.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Problem solved. Like, countdown to drone launch.
True. That's all you need.
There you go.
Show us, don't tell us.
Right. And now there's the drones, and they got to stop them. And, the first thing I thought, because they were like, well, we got to figure out how to hack in here. First thing I thought was, you could just, like, smash them. And I'm so glad that Rios was like, why don't we just physically disable them? And then they explained that. They're like, oh, they have bombs. So, like, they'll go off. Okay.
Rafi's got some skills, though. So she was able to, I guess she has the talent to be able to disable it.
Well,
she was trying to.
I guess she got manual control so they can, like, use one to take out the other three, which is fine. Well, you know what I would have done? I would have tossed her grenade in there and then teleported out.
You could have done that. It would have just destroyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, it's kind of like not exciting.
Teleport.
Maybe they didn't have a grenade, I guess.
But, I mean, yeah.
If you got a grenade, I guess.
It's some kind of explosive device. If they have explosive devices on them, then, it's not. All I'm saying is that the reason they can't do that is because the lab can't blow up, because you need Adam Soong to go back and need to pull out the folder and do the Easter egg.
Yeah.
So,
there's things that need to happen. So I'm not going to beat him up too much about that one.
Yeah, so she's like, find me some scissors, find me some pliers. I'm going to hack in this thing. Okay, whatever. And let's get past this. All right, the Europa mission. How oddly rude Adam Soong was to this executive was like...
He did it on purpose.
Okay, explain this.
So sorry, yeah. So he was doing that so that he could separate himself from her, because he needed to be alone in order to kill Renee.
I see.
So it was intentional. So he was trying to get himself separated. It was kind of a little bit awkward because you're like, dang, you're rude and I'm leaving, so that she would have a reason not to be suspicious of him walking around, I guess, or to not question him because he just called her out on some stuff. It was kind of weak sauce. I mean, you could have probably just, they had it done perfectly. I can't get 5 minutes after all the money I donated. Boom. And then they let him go. Yeah, they didn't need to have that moment where he was like, you know what? I'm leaving you now. I mean, it was kind of a waste of,
a waste of time. That's what you're about to say.
It was a waste of time, and it was a waste of, it was unnecessary because he've already given us the information we need. He needs to get with Renee so that he can try to kill her. And he's already given the reason why they should let him. So they don't need to walk down the hall further so that he can insult her, unless you want to make him more of a bad guy, which wasn't necessary. We already know he's a bad guy.
Right. We already know he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So this part happens. So she's dressed like as, I guess, Renee's handler, but she's obviously not Renee's handler. And now we know why they made sure that they gave us the line that the tech takes 8 hours to recharge.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's necessary. I mean, I don't know why the 8 hours is important.
Well, because she couldn't walk in there. She couldn't walk past them and do all of that as someone else and then also become Renee. She had to save that tech and the charge that tech would give her for the Renee face.
You see Romulan ears on that person?
Ah, you're right. I just saw that.
Yeah. So that wasn't it.
Wait. Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it. This makes no sense.
Well, maybe she can change more than once. Maybe the 8 hour charge lets her change to as many faces as she wants.
Don't tell us about the 8 hours. You're wasting our time.
They only mentioned it very slightly at the very beginning of the show. It was not a big thing that they really went into. So
why even have the dialogue when it has no weight at all?
they should have never mentioned it because they over-explain things that are unnecessary. They wanted to explain why she didn't have Romulan ears all the time so she could fit into human society. And they didn't think you would hold on to it throughout the entire show and utilize it as a tool, because they sure didn't, because they're not thinking about it like that. But on a positive note, I do want to say that I thought this whole next scene was actually rather good. Yeah. The explaining to Renee, the making that personal connection, because you don't know what happens. And even though we knew what was going to happen, when Renee comes running out of that room and runs to Dr. Soong, he's like, Dr. Soong, this crazy lady just told me. There's a moment where you're like slightly unsure as to which Renee that is. Yeah. I know it's supposed to fool everybody. We knew what it was, but and I thought that was great. Now I wonder,
tell us, the chat, did you know when she came out of the room, did you know that it was not Laris? Or is that us thing?
We told them that's what was going to happen.
Okay. So we did.
We've mentioned before that not Laris was going to be the other Renee. So, I'm sure a lot of people were like,
I wonder how many people knew that though and were shocked.
Probably not many, honestly. I think a lot of people were probably shocked, honestly, because nobody goes in depth on it like we do, but so the average viewer was probably like, whoa, what just happened? Right. They probably didn't realize that. Here's a funny question for you. Well, I guess not Laris. I guess that's what she normally looks like, but she technically can look like anybody. This is the only time where she's looked like somebody else in the show. So I bet a lot of people were super surprised.
Okay. Yeah, Random Menace. Yes, it was clear. Okay. Well,
that's because you're smart and you watch the show. Thank you.
Yeah. Random. So I don't know. I don't think I agree with you, bro. I think that if people are watching this show a lot, I think that they knew pretty much immediately that it was probably not.
Well, they gave it away. What did they say? They said, I'm not going to let you sacrifice yourself for her. You can't control me, Picard. You can't tell me how to live my life. You don't have the choice.
Right.
So we knew she was going to sacrifice herself. So the question is did you know it was her when she ran out of the room? Now, when she started dying, I'm pretty sure we knew what had happened. Any reasonable person would have realized, oh crap, that's not Laris.
All right.
Which I thought was clever. The way they did it, the little hand thing, the poison, that's something Soong would do.
Okay.
No?
Yeah. The way Soong would kill her, that's definitely something Soong would do. Soong is not the problem. Soong is not the problem here.
Who's the problem?
The problem is that I feel like that was supposed to be a surprise, and I think you're saying plenty of people were surprised. I don't think they were. I think that you're right. They set it up way too quick in advance.
Like, how else could you have, not having the conversation about her sacrificing herself?
Yeah, not doing that.
Yeah, they probably could have rewritten that another way. You're right. Yeah,
we're gonna go take care of Renee. You guys go deal with Adam Soong.
Yes. Right. And then have it come out where they had that whole talk about the whole speech about you can't tell me how to live my life should have happened as she was dying, probably. They could have actually extended that out a little bit more and had the whole you can't control it. It's not your fault. She could have had that while she was dying, just have a slower death.
Right.
Probably would have worked out better than we would have been surprised, or at least, the average viewer would have been surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna get to that, Daniel's hot topics, because Q's death scene was actually really good. All right, so now Rios is flying the drone. She gets poisoned. Blah blah. So Rios, they get control over one of the drones, and of course, the bad drones have the red lights, and the good drone.
I didn't really like that whole part.
You know why you didn't?
I felt like it was just like unnecessary.
Okay, that's why it was unnecessary.
It was unnecessary. The real story is Renee and the swap.
Right.
Right. And this whole drone backup thing was really just an opportunity to give 7 of 9, Rios and Rafi something to do.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
See, this is the problem when you have.
That is a problem. You got to give them something to do. They can't just sit around, I guess. So they created a whole side story, which but that's what happens.
Yeah. This is totally unimportant in every way.
They should have all went back to Renee's, to the compound somehow, and had like a different job. inside the compound. You know,
Right.
that would have made more sense.
Yeah, like we thought they were gonna do in in the whole like Fly Me to the Moon episode where they're like it's gonna be like a heist or whatever.
Yeah.
We thought that was gonna be a lot more like planned and organized because we gotta get everybody in there and everyone has a job. But then in that
Right.
episode, really only one person had a job,
Oh, Girardi. Yeah.
Girardi
Yeah.
and sort of Picard because he was gonna talk to Renee.
That's true. Nobody else did anything. Not
But-
really.
Nobody else did anything.
Right.
They just drank and talked about their feelings. And the crazy part is, really, Picard didn't do much either.
I mean, he got hit by a car.
He got
and
hit by
tried
a
to talk to
car.
Renee.
Right. Do you think that is what pushed Renee back into the quarantine? I don't know.
I mean, if you're about somebody, you see somebody get hit by a car, your problems are the least of your worries at the moment.
Yeah. So Picard didn't actually talk her into it. He just got hit by a car.
he messed up what was going on. Yeah. He took the hit instead of Renee.
Right. Okay. Yeah, but everyone else there did nothing. They all had to be there, but they didn't do anything.
But everyone else did nothing.
Right. All right. And so this is when Not Lars is dying. She turns it off and he tells her to look up. So
It was a good death scene.
good death scene.
It was. Not Laris did a good job. She I think the whole season, I really wasn't very familiar with Orla Brady in most of her roles, but I thought she did a really good job this season.
Yeah, she did. You're right. I got nothing else to say, but you're right. I mean, she was fine.
It's the ears.
To be honest, she was also fine last season. And this
she
season-
wasn't much in it. Yeah, I mean, but this season she was in quite a bit of it, and she had some actual acting, real acting happening this season.
Right. And
You
she's
know,
done fine this whole series.
Yeah.
The real, and we'll get to the final thoughts at the end here, but there's, gotta definitely talk about Allison Pill,
But yeah,
All right, she has her ears again. Never explained why it was a Romulan that went back, but whatever.
we never got that, man. I that's one thing that I thought was a mistake. They didn't. Here's what's funny: they could have just made her a human version of her. They didn't need to make her a Romulan. When you really think about it, why shouldn't she just be a human that looks like Tallinn or looks like Laris? I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
Who cares?
yeah. And
Doesn't have
I
to
know
be a
why
Romulan.
they used her. They used her because, the actress is under contract or whatever, right?
Right? Yeah.
And that's fine. But yeah, she didn't need to be a Romulan. Didn't have to play with canon at all with that.
Not at all. It just could have been weird genetics or whatever. I don't know.
Right. All right. So Soon's back. He's watching his, he's seen that he failed. He's upset. And then all of his computer stuff starts to get erased. I don't even know why this was necessary, to be honest.
I guess so that he couldn't go forward and do more research.
Okay.
I mean, she deleted all of his research basically. But then they show us the con thing, which then I'm like, okay, well,
There's his research in hard form. Like, I
yeah.
think
So
they just wanted to give Cora, whatever her name is, like
they wanted to give her something to do, man. That's all it is.
right. Honestly, we didn't have to see Cora ever again.
We didn't need to see her. That was it. She left. She, by removing herself from Soong, helped stop the future. That was it.
Right. And then, the fans would have just been like, she sort of looks like that character for some reason. And that's it. That's all we know.
Right. Instead, we got something totally different.
Yeah, it was built from Data's mind or whatever. All right, so this was the Easter egg when he pulls out the Project Con, which I thought was cool.
It's cool, but why? So it says here, Project Con confidential funding report, June 7th, 1996. Remember we were talking earlier
Right.
about how they confused the eugenic wars? Well, this just shows you, it definitely says 1996.
Right.
So my question to you is why? Why pull the report out? What does it have to do with this show? Con happened in 96. Why? What's it here for?
Okay. So I don't know where my head is, but wild podcast theory. Here we go.
Okay.
What if they did more than just fix time? What if they motivated a very intelligent, very wealthy man to go forward with research? You know, motivated him in the worst kind of way. Like, now he's angry. He's lost everything, right? To go forward with research. That is the problem we see in the future. It's the return of the augments. And that transwarp conduit is not a Borg or species 5951, whatever. It's these con people that have been camping out somewhere in Europa or whatever. I don't know. What if it's tied to that?
Why would they need a transwarp drive though? I get what you're saying. We need to think on this a little more, but I'm just like, what would be the
conduit? Yeah, well, we saw the creation of a transwarp conduit. What? Maybe that's how they're traveling. Maybe, I don't know, man. Okay, let me ask you a question.
I love how you came with that.
In Space Seed, when did that ship launch? In the 90s, right?
It launched in 96. So he took control of a DY-100 class interplanetary sleeper ship. He christened the SS Botany Bay, and he set a course outbound from the solar system. So they ended up in suspended animation for centuries. And so I don't understand. So you tell me why he has this con thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Con's gone. He's been gone like almost 30 years, 28 years. He's been in space, flying away. So what is Soong doing with this folder? What's the point?
So we do know that the other version of Soong. Oh, there's too many Soongs.
I mean, it's maybe he is. Maybe the future has changed a bit. You know, maybe he takes this research and then does something else. I mean, there's only reason they show it. I mean, I want to say they're intelligent. This is what keeps getting us in trouble. I keep wanting to say they're doing smart things, but then they do dumb things like announce that the cast of TNG is going to be back in the middle of season 2, when that clearly should be something that's done after the final episode is played out. Why do you put that out?
These are ruining my childhood. They're taking everything that mattered to me and they're fisting it. Oh, look. Oh, hey, look. Oh, here, there's more for you.
Okay.
So I just don't understand why they did that.
Yeah, that's so frustrating. We were going to get there, but yeah.
So I want to say, this is what I want to say. That means something. I want to say that means something. Just like I want to say the time police guy who was in the episode means something to the future.
Jesus.
Just like I want to say that Guinan and her crazy stuff means something. Just like I want to say this means something. But the problem is they may just be Easter eggs. The Romulan stuff, I want to say it means something. That just may be dumb Easter eggs for fans. And let me tell you something. Easter eggs for the sake of Easter eggs in Star Trek is not good.
Yeah.
Because it confuses people.
Yeah, this is, okay, no offense. This isn't Star Wars. Star Wars is fantasy wrapped in science fiction.
Yeah.
Star Trek is pure science fiction, which means you can't have Easter eggs just to have them. Now, if it's an innocuous thing like the street address or the color of a light, fine. But these kind of things, these are Easter eggs, and there are fans out there that are like, okay, now I need to connect the dots.
Yes, they're potential plot points. And it's not that they're Easter eggs; they're potential plot points.
Right. Now, here's the thing. Archmage just said the con thing was supposed to be a cute reference to Eric Soong in the same way he said, "I'm going into cybernetics at the end of Enterprise." Okay.
But I'm sorry, though. You can't. I know. I understand that, but it's not. It's.
See, in the way they did that, by the way,
there's more gravity here.
The way they did that in Enterprise, that was a good Easter egg because it had no bearing at all on the story, right? You knew you weren't going to see that character ever again, and he said that as an homage to the Soong he ends up being, in TNG. This is different though. Because it's completely different. It's the main character. There's another season. We know we can see that character again. We know Brent Spiner is going to be in season 3. It's just a completely different thing. And he just dealt with Jesus. It's really hard for me to verbalize this, but yeah, you're right. This is probably just a stupid Easter egg, but the problem is this has too many connections. So if it's just an Easter egg, then it's disappointment.
There's no significance between the two. There's always been some implied connection because the names are so close to each other. But Soong did not create. He was not on the project that created Khan. You know,
Right.
they're not connected. That's what bothers me about this stuff.
Yeah. So in Enterprise, when he was like all about the augments, why was that? It was really just because the names are similar. That's it.
Just because the names are similar. It's
And
Roddenberry. It was a guy he served with, man.
So there was
No.
that was a reason for them to bring back Brent Spiner, because he played a character that has similar last name to Khan's, Soong. And they're like, okay, so we're gonna make him like really about the augments in some way.
Right. So Soong, right? Noonien
Right.
Singh, Khan Noonien Singh, and Soong, Dr. Soong, who created Data, right?
Right.
Okay. Just there's two totally different stories.
Right.
Different
but,
characters, not connected to each other.
but the ancestors of the guy who created Data are really apparently into augment and biology.
Right. It's like they've tried to connect them in some way. Like it's all been, but it's not really. Like, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to connect it. I don't know. But let me just tell you, him holding up that folder does nothing because the year is 2024. Makes no sense. Nothing happens afterwards unless the future's changed in some way in season 3 that we don't know. And Picard doesn't realize, oh, Soong did something. He created another Khan. And then I don't know. It's possible.
Jeez.
But maybe it is just what they've been doing all along, and it's nothing. And that's what is frustrating as a Star Trek fan, because
Right.
if you do something this big, if you bring back a time cop to be an FBI agent, the same actor, and you don't make a connection, the fact that he was on Voyager, and then you have Khan project that Soong has just been defeated, and now he's like, I've got this folder. I mean, come on, guys. It can't be just a nod and a wink,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah. Too many nods and winks. Too many nods.
Too
Can't
many.
do it.
You can't nod and wink that away, guys. Come on.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to this.
Just get rid of that thing.
All right.
I hate it when cool things don't see their way through,
Right.
because it's a cool thing.
Right. Like a ton of stuff that's happened this season that hasn't. Oh, that's a cool idea. Nothing
Nothing
at all.
happens. Yeah.
All right. Cora's in a Barnes and Noble, it looks like, or something, and she gets a message. Oh, here's the part, guys. You know what's funny is this is literally halfway through the episode. So when I messaged you yesterday and I was like, I'm going to bed. Adios.
Yeah.
It's halfway through. And she gets a message from a mysterious traveler. Come to this street address. And, she has no reason to fear anybody that's looking for her. So she goes to the street address.
What if it was like her dad, right?
I mean, she gets a mysterious message about. I mean, if I was her, I would instantly assume that it was Adam Soong.
Right.
It wouldn't even be a question. All right, so she goes there, and this smug.
I mean, let's just take it from Wesley. Okay. Can we just do it from Wesley right now? Let's just do it from Wesley. Okay. So here's the thing. Wesley Crusher, it's okay. It's okay to bring him into this show.
Yeah.
But the problem is this serves no point. And in fact, it goes on to take kind of a really cool idea and then just makes it not cool anymore.
Right. It ruins
So
it.
basically what Wesley tells her is, and the fact that she understands it's a recruitment thing before him even saying it's a recruitment thing really irritates me.
Yeah.
So, but he's basically asking her questions, or and he says, "We're the people who send the supervisors out."
Oh, they shouldn't have done that.
Which means now we have solved the old Assignment Earth mystery of who were those people from 1,000 light years away from a planet that's hidden that you'll never find. Okay, because they don't want to be found. Well, apparently, guys, it's the travelers.
It's the creepy travelers. Oh my god!
It's the travelers. That's
Okay.
who that planet is, apparently.
Here's
and
the
they're in
problem.
charge of making sure time stays on track, I guess.
Yeah, apparently.
I mean, I guess we didn't know a lot about the travelers. I mean, I guess you can do that, but frankly speaking, it was kind of a really cool notion that they could have done something really cool with.
Right, instead of a throwaway line.
And now they just threw it away. They just totally wrecked that canon.
One of the oldest mysteries in Star Trek. One of the oldest.
So that Wesley Crusher could have a cameo.
Oh.
Because there's no reason to take this character as a traveler to make her a traveler. What does she do? What did she do that was so special?
Nothing.
What did she do? Is she like
Nothing.
incredibly intelligent? Like Wesley was like a genius kid or something.
Right.
What has she done? Other than survive.
Yeah, I guess that maybe it's because she has to be out of time so that she doesn't ruin things. But he gave her the option to stick around and be useless or come with him.
So is that what they do? So is that what they do? Is every time that they like got a fixed time, they just make them a traveler? I don't think so.
Right, but then
That would
again,
make sense.
he gave her the option to stay.
And have a boring life.
Right.
Or
So what he
become a
should have
traveler.
said was, you don't really belong here. He should have tried to appeal to her goodness and be like, you really don't belong here. You can't really be here. You're out of time.
Well, what he should have done, Brian, is he should have taken her to the planet to become a future supervisor as opposed to make her a traveler, one of him. You see what I'm saying? It's like Gary Seven was a agent of, I guess, the travelers now that would go and change time. What makes her so special that she can be a traveler? You see, and can the travelers just make anybody else be a traveler, which is kind of now that has this powers across space and time? There's still things we don't understand. And I just don't think they really thought this through before they made that connection. And they wanted to get, listen, there are people who really wanted to see what happened to Wesley Crusher. And there's no problem with that. But it just was an unnecessary, once again, an unnecessary thing that they threw into the show for the sake of fan service. And it may have done more damage than good.
We do get to know what happened to Wesley. Fine.
Which is good.
But in the
we
process,
don't really know what happened to him, but yeah, he showed up.
Right. In the process of that, we answered a very long, question, a question that was asked in 1962 or whatever. We answered that question in a very unsatisfactory, very unceremoniously 5-minute way. There could have been an entire season dedicated to this.
It could have been a show. Yeah, you're right. It could have been a whole thing. Now it's in the future. It's just ruined it for any other. And that's why you got to be careful with solving Star Trek mysteries, with 5-second lines. You got to be careful because you're taking away potential storylines for future shows, as well, because there's only so many threads that you have to go on to stay in canon. So it was just kind of a waste. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It just wasn't, it was just kind of, hey, it's Wesley. Okay. Oh, he's a traveler. Yep. Still. Oh, he's going to make her a traveler. Why? Oh, wow. Gary Seven is they're travelers. And now that guy that was the weird traveler that was on the ship, what was he doing? And then you go back to TNG and you're trying to figure that out. And you're like, okay, I guess he was looking for Wesley the whole time. Okay. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
It's just a waste.
It's a waste. It's not that you're right. It's not that it's good or bad. It's that it's a waste. And in my opinion,
yeah, go ahead.
In my opinion, when it's a waste, I feel like it was a bad decision then. If you're sitting in the go ahead.
It didn't make Picard season 2 so much better that it was necessary to just, squash that little cool thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It didn't. And when he teleported out, he didn't teleport out as the traveler effect. He used the TNG beam out.
It was like a standard, beam, yeah.
Which I know it's a nitpicky thing, but if you're a traveler, and you
those things are important.
Use the smoke effect. I don't understand why you wouldn't. So that's the problem. The problem with it is not the Easter egg. It's not the the little cameo by Wheaton. as Crusher. It's not even letting us know what happened to Crusher. We probably already assumed that he was a traveler still, because there was that deleted scene from a movie where it showed him back in Starfleet, but that didn't really happen. So by canon rules, he's still a traveler. But connecting the travelers to the supervisors is a waste. And so I would argue that it was bad, because there's an opportunity there of a mystery that had been on Trekkies' minds since they've watched TOS in the 60s. And they've considered that option of who they were and where they're from. And there's videos out there and entire essays people have written up on Reddit and other social medias trying to explain where and what and when it comes to the travelers. And this is the answer you've given us. 5 minutes, the supervisors. 5 minutes, the travelers are in charge of the supervisors. The end. Holy crap.
That's pretty much it.
That's a bummer.
So that's why we were bummed out, because it was Wesley instead of the rest of the TNG crew. But
yeah, so I went to bed because I realized that the reason why the TNG music came in right there was not for the crew, was for Wesley. I was like, all right. I went to sleep and I woke up in the morning and finished it.
All right, let's keep rolling.
All right, and yeah, blah, blah, blah. Hey, come be a traveler, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, of course she wants to be a traveler. They beat him out.
Who doesn't want to be a traveler?
All right, they're back at the mansion now. They are considering the fact that they're stuck in the 21st century, and this is when we get Rafi and Seven making out. Either Seven's a really bad kisser, or she just wasn't into it.
I don't know. It was look, they the way things are going these days, they just had to have that in there. So yeah, I don't know. They're not a believable couple in my opinion.
No, they're not. They don't have any chemistry.
Picard, this is cool what happens right now though.
Yes, Picard takes the skeleton key and he puts it back. Because just so you know, those flashbacks, they actually haven't happened yet.
Right, it's the future.
Right, so it's weird because the way the flashbacks are framed, normally flashbacks happen before the time.
Right. And
the way everyone's dressed and everything in his flashbacks, it seems like it's a long, long time ago.
Right.
Even though it's actually far in the future from now. And so for a minute there, I was forgetting that they're in the past and those flashbacks are technically taking place chronologically in the future, right?
That's true. You're right. And so the key that he found earlier in the show when they were running around the catacombs is critical to what he needs to find as a boy. So he had the choice of whether to put that key back in the hiding place where he found it or not to, because if he had not put the key back there, then he would have never been able to let his mom out of the room.
Which is why in TNG his mom grows old? Was that the
no? So what the point is? The point is that Picard found it earlier in the show and he took it. He knew where the hiding place was,
right?
Because he was a kid already. Right. But he put it back. He made the choice to be the Picard he always was, instead of change history and not go through that torment, because that's what made him who he was. And then he made the choice to change who he was now, and that's why we see the rest of the show the way it is. See what I'm saying? He actually decided to become more open now that he's old, but he wanted to be that same guy, which I'm grateful for, that he was the whole time we knew him in TNG in his whole life.
So he puts the key back, and that's when Q is like, oh, good, you've learned your lesson.
Yeah, you hear his voice. Yeah.
Listen, I do love, I love the interactions with Q and Picard, but I gotta say, what lesson did Picard learn?
Well, he learned that it's okay to take chances and that he doesn't need to push everybody away because of what happened to his mom. And if you go back, he pushed everybody away. He pushed Beverly away. He pushed the girl from Cupid away. He pushed every love interest he's had. Vosh, I think Vosh was his name. He's pushed everybody away, and he pushed Laris away. He won't allow himself to be loved by anyone.
So Q didn't want him dying alone the way he was going to die alone.
Right. And this ended up kind of almost being more about Q. What Q wanted was also to be loved. And then he got his love from Picard.
Right. Which was wonderful.
Yes. John Delancey is amazing. And I'll tell you guys, Patrick Stewart watched he hadn't seen this episode until this morning. And he woke up this morning and he watched this episode and he said he cried. during that moment. And he just had nothing but wonderful things to say about John Delancey and how he was almost jealous of what a great actor he is, which is huge coming from Patrick Stewart because he's a great actor.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart is, he is a great actor. Yeah, and I gotta say, this moment was really, really good. I don't have any.
I loved it. I really loved. I have nothing to complain about. I loved Q. It wraps up Q's character so well, Brian.
Yeah. Suffering, like, I don't want to say the word suffering, but like having to deal with like a lot of the problems this season, it's almost worth it to see a really good ending to a character that I have loved since I was like 19. So for 20 plus years, this has been one of my favorite characters. You guys go to our channel and look at how many damn Q videos we've made, guys. Like, we love Q. We love Q. We love Q, and we love the Borg as villains. We think that there's a lot of layers to these characters that are seemingly very simple to understand, but they have so many layers. So getting to see him go out in this fashion with Picard hugging him is really very emotional.
I mean, it is. You got to remember, Q was there in the first TNG episode, and he was there at the last TNG episode. Right. I mean, Q is so Star Trek. I would argue that maybe Star Trek doesn't do as well as it does. It isn't the thing that we love incredibly now today without John Delancey's Q and the integral part he played in TNG to make that show so much better. You know, so, I mean, this character, the way he goes out, the hug, listen, they could have done a lot of things better in this show, but I will tell you, the way they wrapped up Q, they couldn't have done it any better than the way they did it.
And I had to go online and look. You know, we've never seen Picard hug another person.
Never.
Not once.
Interesting.
We've seen people.
Well, that shows his change. That shows his change.
People hug Picard. We've seen him return embraces. We've never seen him go for the embrace like that.
Well, that just shows that he changed. And it actually shows the growth in this character, which, you know, like they achieved what they went out to do. And regardless of how they got there, I mean, we do see a change in growth in Picard. This was a better season than season 1. And we do have a good reason to believe season 3 will be better than season 2. And we can talk about that more, too.
By the way, Raffi almost ruined it for me when she was like, I'm going to kill this mother. Stop, Raffi.
Yeah.
Please stop.
It's like everybody. Well, you can see everybody else is like, yeah, he needs to get us home. So can you chill out? Thanks.
Come on, dude. You're supposed to be smart. Like, if you're smart, then you know you can't kill the guy that's gonna send you home. So,
well, you know, try to kill a god. I love the line he actually uses there. It's like, you can try to kill me. You know, she obviously can't kill him.
Right. So. Now this is the moment. John Delancey did so good. He was clearly, I think the actual actor was very emotional here too, because you could see it on his face.
Yeah.
In this moment, I did have me, with all the anger I had with not getting what I felt like I wanted this season. This moment with his face, and when Picard said, "You're not going to die alone," was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Q.
Yeah, no, for real. It was good, dude. It was nice.
Yeah.
That was, like you said, everything else may have been worth it just to get this moment.
Right. Because Q's not going to die alone. He's going to die with his favorite pet. And
why you got to stop saying pet? I hate it. I know you say it like that, but it's more than that, man.
I mean, it is, but he did say, "You're one of my favorites." He didn't say you're my favorite. He said, "You're one of my favorites."
Well, he can't leave Janeway out, bro.
That's true, I guess.
He loves Janeway.
Okay. So
but Picard is his go-to.
Yeah, so this is a good moment. Now, this is the moment that after I went to bed last night and left Wesley Crusher standing on Alameda Avenue with Cora and messaged Shane, "I'm going to bed. I'm out." I get to this and I'm like, wait, how much time is left in the episode? Okay, wait. There's still about 20 minutes left. Almost 20 minutes left in the episode. And Q's gonna send him home. Okay. There's still a chance we see the TNG crew, right?
Yeah. I was thinking that. I was thinking it could still happen.
I listened to the whole soundtrack. the first song we hear, the dun 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 dun, dun is on the Travelers track, which we got at the top of the episode pretty much. And the very last two tracks, specifically the last track, on the soundtrack, which we're going to hear at the end of this episode, also ends with the da 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 da. And the beginning of that track is literally the First Contact theme song.
It is. That was weird.
So that track is the First Contact theme song, and it tails off at the very end and goes da 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 da. Right?
Yep.
And you're like, okay. So we got Wesley. He was part of TNG. They played this little thing at the end. Okay, cool. When he beamed out, but there's a whole song that comes from First Contact and ends with the TNG theme music, and we still have 20 minutes left in this episode, and that song hasn't happened yet. I was like, wait a minute, it's still possible that they're not morons, and we are going to see TNG. And this is me, guys. I'm like, I'm just going to visualize. Clicking, 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 clicking. Okay, all right. Jaborgi, she looks weird. Whatever, cool. All right, they have a problem. They work the difference out. Picard makes Seven finally the captain of the ship. Okay, field commission. I guess an admiral can just make anybody Starfleet. Okay,
I guess we're just rocking through this. I guess.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This was my intention.
Well, I know, but you're going through all this.
Okay,
stuff.
all right. Let's back up a little bit. Okay. That's right. All right. Just a mat. Just see my face. Hear this trepidation in my voice when we get to the end. Okay. I want you to understand when that music started playing. I got up. Well, we'll get there.
Okay.
Let's go. Now we're back in the future. The Jaborgi and the big giant La Serena, I'm assuming, and he's having a conversation with Jaborgi. Shane?
Yeah, he stops the countdown. He
stops the countdown. Right.
1 second.
Right. No countdown. Right. Okay.
Somebody turns around and says, "Where's Captain Rios?" He's like, "Shut up and listen to what I'm telling you."
Just shut up.
Just you shut your mouth and turn around.
Shut up and tell the rest of the fleet to allow her to assimilate. Like, yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let me tell you something. As the captain of the ship, be like, oh, well, he's clearly compromised. Shoot.
Right.
Just
Picard's
listen.
lost it.
I understand they don't have time to go through, like, explain, and that's the problem. You don't have time to actually explain to the rest of that fleet that,
or to the audience,
as to what's going on. So you just tell them to do it immediately. And the reason you don't have time is because there's 5 episodes in this season that you completely wasted on nothing. Nothing.
No, you're right.
So you're trying in the last 20 minutes of this episode to make it work. And here's the problem. There's so many little issues that arise the second he just says, just do that. First off, the person communicating that information should be like, wait a minute. The other, 150 or so ships with their individual captains should be like, wait a minute. A lot of people should be like, we need more than just not even your voice, a literal text message saying to relax.
Well, it's funny because they said they need an answer, and then finally 7 of them is like, answer them or they're going to blow us up. And it's like, okay, that's all it took was one of them to go, yeah, we're good.
This is what I would have done as a writer. Fleet-wide hail. Right? Fleet, this is Admiral Picard. Stand down. We are dealing with the situation.
Or something like that. Right. But they couldn't do that because there was only 20 minutes to wrap up the entire season. So really this last episode, that really Q probably should have said goodbye in episode 9 at the very least. And then they should have had this entire episode to flesh out. I mean, in the last 20 minutes, we have a galactic something we don't really know transwarp thing that's going to destroy most of the Alpha Quadrant, and it happens in just a few minutes, and we still don't really understand. It's like, whoa, where did that come from? And it's so it was very odd, right?
Ending event,
which they seem to have every time you have the ending of whether it's Discovery or Picard. There has to be some sort of galactic destroying thing that occurs, right?
You have to say it right. Galactic ending event.
we can just end it, or we can have the you can have the continuation episode you were supposed to have, because Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart, said the climax is in season 3, not season 2.
Yeah.
Explain that one.
Well, he hadn't even seen the episode yet, so how would he know?
he's a crazy guy running around. Oh, no, great. Wait till you see it. Picard actually goes for 5 seasons. We're all good.
Right. Well, he did say something about that too, by the way.
Oh,
yeah. And Akiva Goldsman's like, no, it ends at
no, we're not. Yeah.
Originally, sorry, my Adobe's going crazy. Originally, Akiva Goldsman was like, "Oh, we're going to do it for as long as Patrick wants to do it." Patrick was like, 5 seasons. And he's like, "No, we're ending at 3."
No, 3.
No, I know what I said before, that we're ending at 3.
Yeah. We can only wheel you around so many times in so many scenes. Not going to get any better. They should just put him in the captain's chair for the whole season. Nobody would care. Put him in the captain's chair on the bridge of the Enterprise and let's get this thing done.
Don't even move him. Yeah, he's in the chair. All right, so he's talking to Borgie, and
Nikki just commented here. I think you guys will like Strange New Worlds. Oh, Nikki, don't go anywhere, because right after this is over, we're breaking down Strange New Worlds, and we're going to tell you everything.
Oh yeah, we're finishing Picard, then we're going right into Strange New Worlds, and that is right. You guys, that is such a monumental shift of difference for me. It's incredible. You have to see this review.
We'll talk more about it.
I do love a couple things about this shot. I like the way they made the black look like the circuit board thing.
Oh yeah, that was different. I mean, they upgraded her, and I thought that was good.
By the way, I've made a lot of board graphics, and I always use the circuit board kind of style in my graphics. Yeah. Which wasn't really a thing in Voyager and TNG. It wasn't circuit board or whatever. So when I saw this, I'm like, all right. Some designer had the same thought I did.
Nice.
But her headpiece looked a little weird. I guess Alison Pill doesn't look right without hair.
Yeah, they probably were like, she's like, look, I'm not shaving my head for like 5 seconds here, or 10, whatever, a minute on screen.
Right. So it was like CGI or whatever.
They couldn't get the bald cap on or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, so, she explains that there's some kind of galactic ending event coming, and she needs the fleet, and they're all going to group up together and turn their shields on. And
something you could have done in the first episode, by the way, if we didn't want to have a season.
Right.
Instead of taking over the ship.
Yeah, I feel like she could have just explained this like immediately.
Yeah,
but
it wouldn't. I mean, you obviously can't do that because then you don't have a show.
But that's lazy writing. Okay. Anyways,
is it lazy writing, or is it, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was the catalyst, right? So you had to have some sort of misunderstanding. It would have been better played out as like a misunderstanding. And it's a little easier to find logic through reasoning after the events already occurred. I'll give them that.
Right.
Hindsight is 20/20. So maybe it's just a case of she made a mistake.
I mean, dude, coming into the ship with her mask on, like if she just came into the ship without her mask and it was clearly Girardi, I'm like, all right, hold the phone. Don't attack her.
It just would have given too much away to be able to tell the story.
I know.
You would have had a completely different story if that was the case.
But that's why, if you can explain how to immediately solve the problem, then
we're just going to assume that they made a mistake. I think the Borg are capable of making a mistake.
Okay.
Can't we just call it that? Because otherwise, I mean, I'm taking this from the point of view as a writer. If you want Girardi to be your Borg queen at the end and there's something happening at the beginning, you can't show her. Right. Or else it gives it away. I mean, we figured out that Girardi was going to be the Borg queen at the end, in episode, I think 3.
Episode 3. Yeah.
But, still, it's supposed to be a surprise.
Okay. That would also explain why they spent so much time together, her and Picard, in like the chateau, and why she was playing that music and all that stuff.
That now it makes sense. But
the
problem I have with that is that we don't know that. So all that stuff happened, and we had all these theories because we don't know that Picard has told her all these things. Right. We only find out at the end that he's like, oh yeah, I told her all these things. Why do you guys just tell us this stuff?
Yeah, you wasted 3 episodes on flashbacks and you couldn't show us 5 minutes of that, dude.
Or just, Show us that, because there was so much wasted time. If you're going to have important things happen, show us those things. I think the big problem with Picard season 2 is that they did not have, even though they had 20 producers on every episode, they did not have one person just looking over the whole thing and going, okay, does it all make sense?
Right. Yeah.
You know,
I was looking at our video we made, and it showed, and I was looking at the IMDb. When you said 20 producers, I'm like, before I actually thought to myself, because Shane sent me, the script, and I'm like, before I actually put that in the video, I should probably go look to make sure he's right. Maybe
nice.
Maybe Shane looked at the wrong section of IMDb.
Yeah.
So I went to go look.
Maybe
for a minute there, because like that's 20 sounded like outlandish. That's insane. Mm-hmm. So I want to make, not that Shane doesn't make mistakes like this, but just in case, I don't want to say that and then like the comments lambast us, right?
Yeah.
So I go to IMDb to check out the producers. There are 20 damn producers and 2 writers. 20 producers and 2 writers for this show. And you're like, you guys have this backwards.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like, imagine if there are 20 foremen and like 2 workers, and they're all just standing around the same hole. They're like, dig faster. No, dig that way. No, dig this way. Dig up, dig down, dig left, dig right.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, I'm assuming that it does feel like they just kind of like, and I recall Patrick Stewart saying something like, yeah, I'm in the writer's room. It's very exciting. And you just don't know what's going to happen in the next thing. I remember him saying something like that. No, they really didn't know what was going to happen from episode to episode, because I think they were just like stream of thought writing through the whole thing. Like just like, oh yeah, and they'll do this and now do this. But at the end, you need to have someone check your work and just make sure it all made sense.
Yeah. This was Picard right here. There's one writer and there's all the producers. Poor Jose is just got
because there's so many things that they could have looked at that would have just really made things make more sense. And you needed somebody with a critical eye to go, well, why did they do that? Or why would you do that? Or what's the motivation? There could have been, they needed a Feige kind of watching the whole thing.
Right. And that's the question. You got to ask yourself, what are all these producers doing if not a single one of them is considering the whole story?
I mean, they're doing different things. I know Metalis was more focused on season 3.
Yes.
I know Goldsman was doing season 2. I would be curious. I would love to hear or be a fly in the wall and just be like, okay, hey guys, let's throw this in. I have a feeling that it's a bunch of people who are afraid to speak their mind. That, when somebody comes up with a bad idea and they're in charge, people want to keep their jobs. And so like, yeah, great idea. Uh-huh. Instead of, that doesn't really work. Maybe there's a lot of that going on. They need a couple of real Trekkies in the room that understand like the things.
Yeah,
and that doesn't make sense, or why do that?
That's why Kevin Feige is so good, because Kevin Feige's job is not threatened, and he is a fan of the content that he creates. So he can go, yeah, it's not going to work, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to have one person, and ideally it should be Goldsman or it should be Metalis, who actually say, okay, I am the master of making sure all of it makes sense. I know they got to shoot it. I know they got to direct it. And it depends. Like, they might be writing scripts while they're already shooting the season. So that could be also part of the problem. And now they have logic issues where they have to try to make future episodes fit into stuff they've already shot, so they don't waste money. So there's lots of things that can happen that can go wrong.
Hey, you want to save money? I got all kinds of effects shot you could have cut out of this season and saved a lot of money that weren't completely unnecessary.
I mean, yeah, but that's part of the issue. So we don't really know how they do it, but 2 writers isn't enough.
Yeah, I watched Multiverse of Madness, and you can tell when this Doctor Strange movie.
No, I know. When did you watch that? It came out today.
Yeah, I saw it a couple days ago.
Oh, tricky. All right.
Yeah, I don't want to get into how I saw it.
Well, I don't think you should tell anyone now that I just realized what you just said.
Yeah, okay, let me finish.
Sorry.
But you can tell that Feige is he's not as involved as he was in Iron Man, right? He's still there, But you can tell that when Sam Raimi, which is another Marvel fan, wanted to make this movie, he's like, okay, do your thing. You know, I'll comment on the finished product. But there are parts of it that that are definitely not up. A lot of the stuff is really cool, but there are parts of it that are definitely not up to the Feige standard. And Feige admitted that he was taking a step back to focus on other stuff while this was happening because the next phase is so important to the company.
Well, and in the same regard, Goldsman was finishing out season 2 and he's not there for season 3. So I don't know if he maybe had the same, and he's also working on Strange New Worlds. So there was kind of like, you know, maybe he wasn't watching the shop the way he should.
Right. Right. And so you got to ask yourself, what about the other 18 producers? So
a lot of people are producers in name. They don't really necessarily produce.
Right. Bingo.
As a credit.
That's the answer. All right. So, yeah. So now there's this event going on. There's this big, giant, huge black hole, fiery black hole thing that is developing, and she explains.
I'm sorry. So yeah, look, thank you. Is it a black hole? What is it? Do we know what it is?
Well, whatever it is, it has an event horizon, and it's forming. Right?
So we find out later it's a transwarp conduit.
We find out later it was the birth of a transwarp conduit, which they use the term birth, which is weird because
they're created, not birthed.
They're created. And when they say birth, when you say something like birth, it sounds like, well, with the birth of a black hole, the birth
like
of
it's
a
organic.
Sun. Yeah, it's an organic thing, but we know that transwarp conduits are not organic. We know that.
Right. So that was the other problem, and it looked like it was humongous. Like it looked like it just took up light years of space. Did it not?
It looked gigantic, like a huge.
It looked, when they showed it on a map of the Alpha Quadrant, it looked humongous.
Right. So
then when we actually are faced with it and it's shooting its little beam at the tiny fleet of ships, something felt really off with that. Like it didn't make sense.
Right. What? So when you make a transwarp conduit, does it like shoot out this ridiculous amount of energy in a general direction? Does that happen?
I mean, the Borg did a lot of those things, and I don't remember that part of the Delta Quadrant being destroyed.
Right.
I'm not sure.
Didn't they make like a whole network of transwarp?
Yeah, and they went right up to the Gamma Quadrant.
Right, and none of those other solar systems were destroyed or anything. So
maybe they shouldn't have called it a transwarp conduit unless they're bringing the Borg back, which is something we could talk about. And I know you would disagree with me, but it's also possible that it's species 859, whatever. I mean, we don't know if they create transwarp conduits.
No, but they travel. But they can also travel in the conduits.
Well, what I'm saying is the only species that we have ever heard of that make transwarp conduits are the Borg.
Right.
So maybe other people can travel through them like Voyager did, but the only ones that create them are the Borg. So it's got to be Borg.
And if you create a transwarp conduit, don't you also need a hub?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not getting the specifics. I mean, they're definitely not being specific because we don't even understand what it was. And we didn't get enough time to really understand what was happening. It felt very jarring. And I know they're going to take this into season 3 because, what do you call it? Jaborgi? Is that what you're calling her? Jaborgi? Jaborgi is going to stand guard over that thing now that they're part of the Federation. Yeah,
she's called herself a Guardians of the Gate, which is one of the tracks on the soundtrack. And then when she said Guardians of the Gate, it like played a little TNG jingle, and I'm like, what the hell does that have to do with TNG?
It's like the composer was trying to tie into the show.
It's like the composer is now just giving us a bunch of TNG sort of like the rest. By the way, the rest of the soundtrack has none of this, but this episode, for some reason, for 3 out of the 4 main tracks used this episode ends with a TNG jingle, and you're like, what? Why? It made sense with the Wesley Crusher, fine.
Yeah.
But any other time you use this music, it has no bearing at all. There's no reason to introduce the TNG theme music. It's
right. All right.
Anyways, so they do the ship thing. Well, we do get to one of the ships is not properly calibrated, and they call that ship the Excelsior.
Oh,
and who answers that? Who answers that call, Shane?
It's Aldor. Yes.
Why the hell is a cadet answering the call?
Dog, I don't want to go there.
No, we have
because
to
they
go,
needed to find because they
we
needed
have
to
to
show
go
him.
there, Shane. We
They
have
needed to
to.
show him because that was Q's surprise, and so a cadet has to be the one answering the. I don't know, man, because they don't need things to make sense. They just want the fans to react appropriately, and that's one of the problems with Star Trek right now. Like, where did Elnor come from? What ship was he on? He was on the Saratoga, right? When the time travel occurred?
Apparently he's on the Excelsior.
He was with Rafi.
Right.
Rafi's on the Saratoga.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. I'm saying the wrong word. I was in the Navy. The Saratoga. He's on the
Excelsior?
No, that's Patrick Stewart's thing, Excelsior. He's on the Stargazer. Oh my goodness.
No. That ship that he's on right now is the Excelsior.
Right, but they're on the Stargazer. Rafi's on the Stargazer.
Right. She came to the Stargazer, so she was on another ship first.
When though? Before the time
jump. Yeah.
So before time jump, she came over.
No, she didn't. No, she talked to them on a view screen. She wasn't actually on the Stargazer.
So Q put her back on the Stargazer.
Right.
All right.
Instead of
Elnor, he did not.
But Elnor, he did not.
Okay, so we could have a big fan surprise. Okay, I got it. Go ahead.
But the fan surprise doesn't make any sense.
I hate it when you get fan surprises that don't make sense.
Because
all right.
They call the ship because their shields are out of harmonics or whatever. Insert technobabble here. And the cadet is answering the phone. What?
Yeah, it's just, they should have just put him on the ship and had him walk in. He should have just walked in from somewhere.
They should have had someone else answer the phone, and in the background, maybe they show Elnor.
And he turns around or something like that. Yeah, that would have been kind of cool.
Oh, the harmonics are in place, Captain. And she's like, Elnor?
Right. You could have had a moment like that. Anyways, it's fine. Whatever.
Elnor's the captain of the ship now, guys.
All right. Yeah, forget about it. Moving on. So 7 of 9.
Yeah. So 7 and 9 does get a field commission here. I thought this was sort of cool.
Well, yeah, but she also gets a field commission and here's a ship. I'm not sure that is normal. But okay.
It can't be normal.
Hey, you're not in Starfleet. Go ahead.
Although that is what happened in the Kelvin movie when they're like,
with Kirk.
Hey, Kirk, you were just a cadet, but now you can be captain.
Didn't you just do the Kobayashi Maru? Jump in the captain's chair. Why not?
Didn't you just do the Kobayashi Maru and cheat? And you're technically not supposed to be here because you're on suspension. But I'm gonna make you my number one.
Why not?
And you're gonna be right underneath Spock right now.
Yeah.
So when I die, Spock's going to have to adopt you as his number one because that's the rules. And then when he freaks out and says and attacks you because you are literally because Kirk is goading him about the death of his mother that happened 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, because Spock told him to do it because he told himself to do it. Remember?
Right.
Spock told him to do it.
Yeah, the older Spock told him that. And then he's going to be like, I need to go take a break. Good luck, cadet. Take over the ship.
So the whole point here is, guys, the whole point is that, JJ needed to get to the point quick. Fine, whatever. But in this situation, you had 10 episodes, so you don't need to rush it.
Right. So here's the deal. That movie, we're complaining about it, but they had one movie, 1 hour and 42 minutes to make all that happen. You had here 10 hours.
Yeah.
10 hours versus an hour and a half or 45 minutes. 10 hours, under 2 hours. I'm not even justifying JJ's nonsense, but I understand that they had to get to the point. My problem is you didn't have to rush anything this season. Yeah. You had 10 hours.
You didn't need to. Yeah, you didn't need to rush it. It just wasn't, like we've said, nauseatingly, it just wasn't managed. The time wasn't managed properly. That's it.
Yes, 5 hours of this entire season was pretty much just wasted.
I think so.
I do like the fact that Seven is now the captain of the Stargazer and Field Commission, which is any admiral can give you, and You know, and we got that whole backstory. She tried to be in Starfleet, which we thought was thin too, by the way.
Didn't like that.
You can't be in Starfleet because you're an ex-Borg. What do you mean? You have an ex-Borg as the admiral of the fleet. Yeah, but
well, and also
different.
Icheb was in Starfleet.
Oh, and Icheb,
he's a Borg.
Who's a Borg, was also in Starfleet. No, but you can't be in. Oh, you mean you have all these really talented, regarded people coming to your defense? Nah, we're still gonna ignore them. Oh, they're threatening to resign. We don't care. You can't be here.
Right. So guys, okay, I know some of you are probably like, well, why are they doing this? Why are they nitpicking like this? Because it's so simple to have just watch season 1, see that Icheb is in a Starfleet uniform, and then come up with a different reason why Seven couldn't join the Federation instead of, the Federation didn't want you. And by the way, even Admiral Janeway couldn't convince the Federation to put Seven into the Federation. You know, it's
her whole
ridiculous.
Crew went to bat for her. The fact
ridiculous.
that they doubled and tripled down on it is even worse. Like they
it's weird. Yeah.
The writers didn't even watch their own first season 1, and then they go,
different writers.
Huh?
Different writers. It's not the same one.
Right. Okay, right. You're right. But we're gonna double down on this and make it even more unbelievable by saying that Janeway couldn't make it happen.
I know, it's just, and so it's like, it becomes unbelievable. And this is like, we're not trying to nitpick, but these are the things that are like irritating about you trying to justify plot points that don't make any sense.
And then in 5 seconds, Picard solves the problem.
Yeah, he field commissions her. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Someone should have
she knows the Borg better than anybody else.
Someone should have told Admiral Janeway that she could have just done
that. You got to be in war to get a field commission, my friend.
All right, whatever. Go to war.
Oh, but they weren't in war here. All right, whatever. All right.
Okay, moving on. All right. So it looks really big.
It doesn't anymore.
I mean, it doesn't look as big as it did on the monitor.
Right. It looked big, and now it's small.
It's smaller, right?
Yeah. So they showed all the planets in the Alpha Quadrant, and then this giant round thing.
Yeah, it's massive ball of swirly fire.
I'm like, holy crap, this is taking up a quarter of the Alpha Quadrant.
Oh my God, they're going to end the season with the destruction of the Gamma Alpha Quadrant.
We went back to the wrong future. Q.
Oh no.
Not Con anymore. Q. You know,
the Alpha Quadrant is about, they're going to end the show on the ultimate cliffhanger. The Alpha Quadrant is about to be destroyed.
Right.
We just watched 10 episodes about Picard coming to terms with his feelings, and we end with the Alpha Quadrant's about to be destroyed.
And it's a good example of what a small mistake can on screen in your graphics department or whatever can make for audience understanding of what the heck's actually going on. Right. You know, and it's like you're looking at it, and because they did it so quickly and there was so little time, as the Borg continued to say over and over again, Jaborgi, there's no time, right? Now we're stuck with this like quick element. They defeat it, and then now the Borg are going to guard it.
Well, they don't defeat it. They avoid it destroying everything with the shields, and now it's a transwarp conduit.
And now it's a transwarp conduit, which, if anything other than the Borg come through it, would be a little suspect at this point. Yeah.
Wait. Okay. Gigantic, small. It shoots out laser or fireball. The shields stop it. It turns into a transwarp conduit. It's the birth of a new transwarp conduit. Now they're going to. The Borg are going to become a temporary member of Starfleet. I'm sorry, the Federation. And they're going to stand guard over the transwarp conduit. So much of this.
We're going to have Borg on Borg action coming up here pretty soon.
Right, but Alison Pill's not in.
But yeah, no more. See, now that's interesting. We know for a fact, according to Alison Pill, she's not in season 3.
Right.
So can I ask you guys a question? Why did we end it with her guarding that thing? That means that this transwarp conduit has nothing to do with season 3.
Yeah, it's not important.
Unless they just go, oh, well, they left, or, oh, she's gone. That'll be bad.
Right.
Right.
So they needed a reason for her to be in such a hurry. And the reason was that the conduit was forming and she didn't have time to explain anything. Okay, fine. Okay, got it.
Go up a little sooner next time, huh?
Yeah, show up a little soon.
Show up 10 minutes earlier.
Well, you're also in a time ship.
Or something. Yeah. We don't know.
And you spent a lot of time waiting for Picard to get there.
400 years. So yeah.
You should have been like, the galaxy is in danger, Picard, come here now.
Yeah, show up 6 months earlier. Let's get a plan together. I'm sorry. Let's stop doing that. Let's stop it. It's not fair. Stop doing it.
All right. So whatever it is, now Jaborgi is watching the gate. I would have loved to have seen like the inside of this thing and it revealed to be the Rios. I'm sorry, the La Serena.
I mean, it is the La Serena. It has to be.
That's what we're saying. That's our canon. Our head.
It would have been cool if they did. Yeah, you're right. It would have been cool if they did like a flyby of it and you saw La Serena on the side or something.
Yeah, you saw like a piece of it and it says like the La Serena.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
I don't know. That would have been.
Hey, if you want to throw in, listen, if you guys want to throw in Easter eggs, hook us up with ones that really are cool, like that one.
Right, which has no bearing on the story and just adds to who it is.
Well, it confirms what we suspect. It's an actual revelation that makes sense to the story
and doesn't ruin anything else.
Right.
All right. So, bada bing, bada boom. They solve the problem. Jaborgis, blah, 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 blah. All right. Now we're back at the game. Now this is when the First Contact theme music starts to play. Right
Why
here.
Are they playing it? Yeah.
It's like, da, 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 da. And you're like, up. They're at 10 forward.
Yep.
TNG is coming. We know they're going to come because at the end of the First Contact theme music, it plays the TNG jingle. Woo! My body is ready, Picard. Show me the crew. Show it to me, man.
And then,
What happens?
Nothing. He's back with Laris again, and that's it.
Nothing happens. Nothing.
Picard gets the girl. That's what happens.
The fact that she has the picture of Rios in like 10 forward annoys me so greatly. The fact that she knew the whole time when he came to see her what was going to happen bothers me so much. The fact that you're playing the First Contact theme music and the TNG theme music when none of those characters are present bothers me so much. Picard is.
Guinan is? No, it's a tease, man. I totally get it. I know what you mean. I don't even want to. Can you not show that? I don't even talk about it. You know why? Because, frankly speaking, Whoopi Goldberg met Picard twice for the first time, and that's just going to blow my mind forever. And I don't have an answer for that.
I got nothing.
Because if you think about it, after he met her in 2024 and came back to the future, I didn't mean to say that. Went back to his correct time. Then everything else should have been put in place. Data went back. He originally met Guinan in the 1800s. And so that really event should have never occurred for her.
Yeah, so what you're telling me is really they're not in the correct timeline. They're in another branch. They're in another branch. They're in a branch that they created while attempting to snip the other branch. They might have made that branch's future better, but in reality, they're not in the prime branch.
Sounds like a video to me.
Time travel, man.
Make a note for that one.
Yeah.
Drink it up.
Yeah, and they're drinking, but Eleanor's freaking.
Card's got to go. Okay.
Card's got to go. He goes.
See, I'm thinking they're going to show up, maybe, but no. I'm still holding out hope, man.
Yeah, I was still holding out hope because you still hear that damn theme music. You're like, any moment now.
I'm like, Laris has got to be there. Okay, I got it. But he'll finish up with Laris, and he'll turn around and be like, ba-boom. But it didn't happen.
And we expected a stupid cliffhanger.
We did because we were pretty much told, or it was insinuated.
That's what we were told it was going to be. All right, yeah, and the rest of the episode legitimately is just him hooking up with Rio Laris, who admittedly is very handsome woman, so I get it. And
yeah, as they're panning out, I'm like, oh, it's not going to happen. And that was it. Season over.
First assistant director. Second,
Producer.
Fourth, 15th assistant director.
Producer. So let's go to the chat, bro.
1,200 people made this show.
But only 2 people wrote it. 1,400 people made the show, but only 2 had pen to paper.
Only 2 writers the whole time. All right, ready?
Oh,
All right.
my.
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right, let's take chat before we go into Strange New Worlds.
Okay, yes, let's come back here. I'm going to come back up here. Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah. Let me just pick out some cool things here. Oh, Archmage Frey. Too bad not Laris forgot she had the power to mind control people. That's a good one.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, right. He also said Soong needs to survive so that he can continue his lineage to eventually to invent data.
Yeah, so soon
He's got to live.
there's a great theory.
Whoa, where's his kid, bro?
There's a great theory. Who?
Who's the offspring of Soong?
Oh, see, that's the theory. He soon is a clone.
Okay.
And every 80 years or so, he clones himself and transfers his consciousness.
I like that idea because this Soong, I didn't see any kids.
And wait for it. The reason he starts making data is because he's tired of the constantly having to clone and transfer his consciousness every 50 or 60 years.
Oh, I mean, that's okay. All right. Well,
So he's creating data for the purpose of uploading his consciousness, which is exactly what they did with Picard at the end of season 1.
True, but that was okay. And the final Soong was able to accomplish that. But I don't know if they've always known how to do that. That would seem kind of weird.
No, they're working on it. The whole time they were working on it, they kept cloning themselves. Soon is a clone of Soon is a clone of Soon is a clone of Soon.
But in order to have the ability to transfer that, if he's working on it, then how the heck is he transferring his consciousness into the next Soon?
Oh no, he's able to transfer his consciousness, but he's not able to build a body that's going to last forever until he gets to Data. And
All
before Data, he goes through. Remember his wife, before Lore, then Data.
I get it. I mean, I hate dealing in hypotheticals because there's no canon to back it up.
What about the Soon at the end of Picard season 1? Is that a robot?
No,
it's a person, right?
Person.
Dude, Data's creator was ancient. No way he's creating. He has kids.
I'm just saying. I don't know either. You're right. That is the weird thing about it. Okay, I guess I could use that since I don't see any kids. I guess okay.
What else can it be? What else can it be if there's no kids? How else do you procreate in Star Trek?
Nobody ever explained it, so I guess bad story writing.
Clone. A clone of a clone of a clone of a clone.
I get it, but I'm saying I'm not sure that's what they're thinking. I'm not sure all these years of Soong.
What did the first Adam Soong was doing?
Hold on to that thought. It's a clone. We'll get to it in 20 years. What?
The first Adam Soong was cloning his daughter a bunch of times. That was his life's work. Was trying to make a clone. Those were all clone.
And they wouldn't, and they didn't survive. Right.
Right. So he finally figured out he's going to use the augment DNA or whatever to figure out the problem, and he's going to clone himself before he dies.
All right. We're just never going to see it, but okay. Right?
Right.
We're never going to see it.
I
forget it.
Yeah,
we're done with Soong.
Maybe we see it in season 3. When we're not done with Soong.
No, we're done with Soong.
We're not done with Soong. Brent Spiner's in season 3.
I know, but I don't think he's going to be Soong. Remember?
So he's going to be Lore, which
I'm down for him to continue being Soong, but we're not going back to 2024.
Well, we better not go back to 2024.
If we go back to 2024 in season 3, the fisticuffs are going. Okay, I'm sorry. We cannot have another season of not being in space.
Yeah, maybe that's when they reveal like the whole clone thing.
Okay, I'll buy it. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Let's see here. I don't understand the whole Nazi world. This is Gray. And then how it is not the Nazi world. Join the rest of us, Gray.
Welcome to the club, bro.
Yeah, we've been talking about that over and over again. Q somehow created it. The finger snap fixes everything. Let's see. Okay, Archmage Frey, the future is absolutely changed no matter what, because Guinan remembers this meeting. Thank you. We talked about this meeting of Picard instead of Time's arrow in the corrected future. So he confirms what we just said.
So it's a branch. They're not on the original timeline then.
You're right.
It's 100% a branch.
It must be. Or time. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Okay. Does every change in history have to create a branch, or can it just change the future?
I mean, you can't pick and it's either branch theory or it's sacred timeline theory. It's one of the two.
Or it's a paradox.
Yeah.
So this must be a paradox, because I don't even want to theorize on it being a different timeline.
It has to be. It has to be another branch, because they specified that it was a branch theory. If they specified that and there are clear changes in the future, then it's
I just don't want it to be that. So can we not have it be that? Like,
so you shouldn't have done branch theory. You should have done sacred timeline then.
I, Shane Montgomery, do not want it to be that. So let's just not be that. I don't know. I don't want to go there, because the whole branch thing is too much crap to try to hold on to and to try to make sense of. I understand what you're saying, but this is one of my big problems with the time travel for Picard season 2. It's messy.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was some. Let's see. So Archmage Frey says here the Bell riots happened 2 months after Picard and Friends, September 2024. It is possible that when we'll talk about it in Strange New Worlds, when they do talk about the second Civil War, maybe this is what they're referring to. The time frame, the Bell riots, and afterwards.
Wait. It happens. The Bell riots happened 2 months after that?
Yeah.
Then why did they even use Q, man? They should.
No, they couldn't. Remember, it was Romulan. You really want to go back there again? You really want to do that?
But they had a way to get back that didn't need Q.
Not really, unless someone was looking for them. See, the DS9 crew was trying to get, was looking for them.
No, but the Admiral of Starfleet would know what happened with DS9 and when.
But the future was changed and there was no Starfleet.
No, but in his mind, they fixed the future when they stopped Adam Soong.
Would they know that they were missing? See, I'm sorry, man. We can't. If we
Would
keep doing this,
would who know of who was missing?
Who would have known to go back and get Picard?
No, no, man. Picard would have known that of the mission report of the DS9 crew going to that time in 2 months.
Well, so you're saying he would have just joined up with, he would have waited 2 months and caught a ride back with Cisco?
Let me ask you a question. Wait, hold up.
But it's the wrong time frame.
Let me ask you a question, Shane. Ready? You and I are stuck in the past.
Okay.
Name a time. We know, you and I both know, that in a month time, our ride's gone, but in a month time, some other ship from the future is going to show up, not knowing about us, but we know that they have the technology to get back. Our only option is to stay there or finish the sentence.
I know, but you're not going to your time. You're still going into the past. But you're going
to a time that has the equipment to get back to your time.
Sort of. Yeah. I mean, we never got the sense that everybody just time traveled at their whim, right? In Star Trek. So he would have had to go to DS9's time. Right?
Stupid time travel. It's so stupid.
That's what I'm saying. We just got to stop talking about it because it gets worse every second. Let's go back into here.
Yeah, they had communicators. Hail Cisco. Whatever. No, that's a good point, Frey. What if you hailed Cisco and threw an encrypted message to open up at a certain time in the future on his ship.
Why do we need to talk about this any further?
Whatever.
It's my whole point. It's done. It's like we don't need to theorize on how they could possibly get back. We spent an hour talking about how they could possibly have gotten back a different way.
Cunningham
Q was there.
It's not a Walter, bro. It's not a Walter. All right. Okay. All right. So let's stop. You're right. The only way to get back is bad writing. So let's move on.
There you go. Well, yeah.
I mean, that sucks, bro. That's
what Q does. It's what Q does. Let's see. The original. I would argue Q didn't pull them out of the OG timeline. He pulled their consciousness out of their now exploded bodies and overwrote their doppelgangers.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
the original versions of their bodies did die in the explosion. Yeah. So if that's the case, then yeah. All right. I guess Q, that is a good point. I mean, that's never been explained that's how he moves people around.
That's what happened because Seven didn't have implants.
Seven didn't have implants. Was Picard still a robot? Yeah, he was.
Yes, but he had a reason for that because in that person's body, Gul Dukat was the reason he was a robot.
Oh, you're right. So Archmage, you might be right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Let's see. New realities, Daniel's hot topics. Daniel, I don't want to hear this. New realities are created all the time at every point in time. I don't want to hear that because I don't want to think about that as too much.
So there was a theory that every binary choice creates another version of said binary choice, like Schrodinger's cat.
And if that is true, I just, cool. But I don't want to watch a movie that does that because, I don't want to get lost. I need to understand what it is I'm watching.
So there's a version of, and with that theory, there's a version of me that is skinny, metrosexual, and lives in New York.
Okay. I'm not sure why you picked that, but all right.
Well, because like when I was in the military, I went to Baltimore. Someone asked me if I wanted to stay in Baltimore. I said, no, Baltimore sucks. That means that at some point there was a version of me that said, hey, why not?
Okay.
Right?
Because every choice creates an alternate.
Every binary choice creates another version that lives beyond you. So when I went to Baltimore and someone asked me to stay, a friend of mine, I said, no, I don't want to stay. Baltimore sucks. I'm from California. I'm going back to Cali. And well, there's a version of me that did stay. And I'm probably really skinny because I ride a bike and not a car, yeah, I'm telling you, there's a version.
Or you just read too many Pick-a-Path books when you were growing up. And, there's two options for every page. Flip to page 119 if you make this choice.
Ooh, there's also a version of me that's dead because of decisions I made in the military. For sure, there's definitely multiple versions of me that are dead. All right. That's some mind effery right there, right? If the binary choice is what puts you in another reality, and we were in the military, how many realities are just dead Bryans in chains?
Many. Oh, let's see here. So Daniel's hot topics. I cried when Q died. Yeah, that was just a wonderful moment. Wonderful moment. Let's see. Next season, they will ruin the original cast, David Nunya. I hope not, Dave. I hope not. I really hope not because, this is the moment we should talk about this where Matalas is complete control of season 3.
Yes.
Nobody else. There's no other cooks in the kitchen. It's him. So if it does not succeed, it is all him this time.
Right.
And he does have really good past experience with 12 Monkeys. And I think he's capable of doing it well. He and the TNG crew. Now this is important because Gates McFadden is saying it, that it's going to be excellent. And a lot of people are saying that it's going to be a good send off for the TNG crew.
Yeah.
Now, if they're saying that and they're the people that were in it, let's hope that makes sense. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Of course, Gates McFadden hasn't been in anything in a very long time. So
I guess that's true. But I mean, if it's a good send off, if they're saying it's a good send off, let's hope it is. I don't know. It's a good point. It may not be.
Yeah. So Allison Pill is not in this season. And I would argue the best thing about this season after Q was probably Allison Pill's performance.
Yeah, I guess Annie Wershing and Allison
Yeah, both of them.
combined
Right.
were really good. John Delancey was great in his moments too.
Yeah, I would say after John Delancey. I would say if I had to rate the characters, John Delancey, Q, Jaborgi, so Girardi and Borg Queen, and Warshi, whatever, Allison Pill,
Yeah.
and Adam Soong before episode 4 when he had theirs.
Okay. Yeah, and then Orla Brady somewhere in there.
Yeah, she was good too.
Let's see. Okay, Ruben Hilber says, also, shouldn't the folder have been before 1996 since growing people in the tanks takes years? That's a really great point. It was 96 when Khan goes into space. So yeah, why does the folder say 96? That's a good point.
Oh, maybe it has something to do with him getting that spaceship and making a transwarp conduit. Oh.
No, dude. No, there's no reason to make a transwarp conduit from the Alpha Quadrant. Right? Or maybe there is. Maybe he's I don't know. Maybe. That's weird. Maybe they're Borg. They're Borg hybrid human genome project people. All right.
Yeah, it's weird that Brent Spiner's in season 3, when he made it very clear he's not going to play Data again. He made it very clear, no Data. So that only gives him 2 options, really, because B4 is pretty much Data, right? So we got to take B4 off the table, and we got to take Data off the table. So that gives us 2 options: either another descendant of Soong or Lore. And I don't think he wants to play Lore. I don't think he wants to deal with all the makeup and everything required to play that character. So it's probably a version of Soong, either another version of a descendant of Soong or the original or the actual Soong we just saw, which would be so confusing.
Well, the Trek reviewer says maybe Elnor is not the only one Q brought back. Maybe Q brought Data back from the dead too.
No, but yeah, that's a cool idea. But Brent Spiner literally said that it's in his contract that he won't play Data again after season 1. He will not play that character again because he said there's no emotion, the makeup's weird, it doesn't look right. He doesn't want to play that character again.
Trek reviewer also says, how do we know that this will be Wesley's only appearance? I mean, it's possible that Wesley could somehow come back into season 3 and maybe this whole element of bringing that other character to make her a traveler has some sort of implication on the series. But unfortunately, everything they've done means that they will not connect that. Because, like we said earlier, you take the time cop guy and you take all these different things that you thought were going to be something and they turn out to be nothing. This is probably just fan service for Wesley Crusher, unfortunately. Could happen, but it just doesn't seem likely.
You know what would have been awesome, Shane?
Huh?
If we got, what would have been awesome is if we got this Wesley Crusher, scene.
Yeah.
And he gave her the choice, hey, or she said, you're out of time, let me take you, with me, and so that you're not out of time or whatever. And never mention anything about the supervisors, like at all.
Yeah.
Have the same scene and just don't mention the supervisors. Just have him be a traveler.
Yeah, that would have been
goes throughout time, and he's sort of adjusting people that are out of time. Now there'd be a nitpicky thing with like, okay, why didn't he show up when Picard was literally out of time? But whatever.
But make it so that she could implicate time still.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he pulls her out as like assisting Picard.
Right.
Would have been cool.
Oh yeah. Like she like he's cleaning up after Picard's mess.
Yeah, that would have been cool. And then Picard don't even know it. And maybe he's done that in other situations. That would have been kind of cool.
That would have been cool because that would have made Crusher looks like sort of a badass. Like, I'm helping still.
Archmage Frey says here also, what did they do with the body of Not Laris? Think that is such a great question because I was thinking the same thing when I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, she's dead. Somebody's going to walk across these Romulan ears here and this body just laying here on this military, post. What did they do with her body?
Right. And she has doesn't she have green blood?
Romulans. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, obviously they're going to know she's an alien.
Well, the ears could be like, maybe she's a hardcore body modder.
No, no. I mean, they're going to know when they do an autopsy, and they're going to
The
figure it out.
second they do an autopsy, they cut in the green blood and multiple hearts and yes, it's an alien, clearly.
And you got to. So now, do they even show how Picard gets? I guess he uses her tech to.
Yeah, he must.
It's all off camera. Sorry, they don't have an answer for us. So
yeah, it's all off camera. Yeah. So there's an alien, a dead alien, at the site of the most important space launch in human history.
Yes, which is interesting because way back on Assignment Earth, it was also the launching of of a space satellite of sorts.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's similar.
So the question is, though, how does that not like change the future too?
What?
Us finding an alien.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Though they didn't find her.
Right.
I mean, Picard wouldn't have left her there.
So everything's off
Picard
camera.
got back.
Cool. Why not just have 3 seconds of her activating a tech and taking her with him to the chateau?
Could have been
Problem
easily
solved.
to do it, or back to her apartment or whatever. I don't know. Why didn't Wesley come and collect her? I don't know. Maybe he's in charge of the traveler or of the supervisors. Let's see here. I'm really Archmage. I'm really sad the final Q snap was just a flash transition and not the classic Q snap. That would have been cool to actually have the classic Q snap effect.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
Dork Knight's here. What's up, Danny?
What's up, Danny?
How can you call this a Star Trek show? Nikki says it is in space for like 5 seconds. Let's hope season 3 keeps us in space, because you're right.
It's called L.A. Trek.
L.A. Trek. We were talking about earlier, but Star Trek 4 is like the most highly grossing Star Trek film of all time, and they spent most of the movie not in space as well. Let's see.
All right. You ready? Almost done here?
Almost there. Just want to go see if there's any more big things here really quick. There was an episode of Voyager where they met a race who created transwarp conduits called Dragon's Teeth or something like that. I remember that. Okay, so that could be somebody else with the transwarp conduits. We need to look deeper into that going forward, because it may not just be the Borg.
No, there are other people that use the transwarp conduits.
Oh, he says made them.
Oh, made them?
Yeah, could create them.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we got. Oh, let's note that down. We got.
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that.
David's saying the Borg did not create transwarp conduits. I recall they did, but maybe it could just me thinking that they were mentioned with them so frequently. It could just be one of those things.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. So, are they made or are they birthed? Because birth is like a natural occurrence. Made is like no. They have to be made.
Yeah.
Because like every time they're birthed, they just take out entire solar systems. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Jeremy's like, maybe we're finally getting the Iconians. That's like been the promise of Star Trek forever. We still have not got Iconians.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that's been a long that has been a promise. Every new version of Star Trek sort of tiptoes around the idea, but never actually delivers. Okay,
I think that's it.
all right. Kenneth said something over here in the member section.
They hate a Maria with T and Tilly.
He said, use the transwarp conduit to escape Star Trek. Okay. All right, dude. Let's get into something positive. We are talking
Before
about.
Before we do that, we need to do one other thing.
Come on, you're dragging this out.
I'm not dragging nothing out.
Okay, what?
Check your list that I created for you.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Don't forget, we are sponsored by Liquid IV.
That was so terrible. I can't believe you just said it like, don't forget, like a used car salesman. Let me tell you guys something. Okay, real quick.
Liquid IV.
Let me tell you guys something. Okay, like the first time I tried Liquid IV, let me tell you, I was really skeptical. So to be honest with you, I've tried everything. I won't mention the names here, but every sports drink you can think of to like quench your thirst, right? And the thing is that depending on where you are on the planet, if you're in a cold environment, which I found myself at Christmas in the Rockies, right?
Mhm.
I could not quench my thirst. I was drinking water after water after water, right? So my wife said, I just got this stuff called Liquid IV. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to drink that. She's like, I'm telling you, you're going to feel better. So I finally did it. I drank the lemon lime flavor, immediate thirst quench, like nothing like any of those other guys have ever done before. So I just want to tell you guys, if you get a chance, if you're looking for something, if you like sports drinks, definitely give Liquid IV a try. I mean, it's like magic. I'm not kidding. Okay. They got Concord grape, they got strawberry, and now that's the only way we hydrate. Brian has the bottle because he stole it when he made the original ad for it.
I did.
And it's a cool looking bottle. I wish you had it.
Yeah, it's sweet.
But they got flavors. They also got watermelon. They got my favorites, lemon lime. Which one did you like?
The strawberry is better than the lemon lime because I tell you what I do
Oh.
with them. I do not mix them with water
Oh,
because that's way too basic. Okay.
okay.
I throw some water, Liquid IV, and some frozen strawberries into a
Oh,
blender
Nice.
and make a shake out of it.
That's kind of cool.
And it's great because I don't have to put any sugar. Usually, if you just make like a shake with water and frozen fruit, it's not very sweet, right? But the Liquid IV makes it more sweeter, and it adds your hydration stuff to it. It's great.
Very cool. Well, listen, when you guys get a chance after this video, check the link in the description below and get 25% off your order of Liquid IV by using coupon code ThePopcast. And that's the one we use for all of them. Give it a try. I promise you are not going to be upset. It helps support the channel. We appreciate you. All right.
Yeah. All right. What time is it, Shane?
It's time to get positive about Star Trek.
We are going to be talking about Strange New Worlds. And yes, I gotta be honest, this was a definite return to form, like we hoped. And frankly speaking, we did predict that it would be a return to form. But we were like, we think it'll be a return to form, but really we're like, we really hope it will be. And everything that we saw, every news, every interview, every clip, every story synopsis, all gave us the impression that this would be a return to form. And I gotta tell you, at least with the first episode, my friends, they delivered.
Yeah, this is if you guys haven't seen Strange New Worlds yet, we're gonna definitely be spoilering this thing down. And I gotta tell you, it was definitely good. I mean, and part of me is wondering, I keep asking myself, is it good because like the bar is so low on Trek? I really had to take time to think about it. And I got to tell you, there's a reason why we liked Anson Mount as Captain Pike in Discovery season 2. There's a reason.
Yeah.
And it just pops on the screen, boom, from the beginning. That dude is so charismatic. I mean, it's unbelievable. He just embodies that role as a captain, as a Starfleet captain. And he's got that James T. Kirk, cowboy feel that you kind of want in that chair sometimes.
Right. So one thing though, the ship that number 1 is on, it looks so weird to me. Why does it look so weird?
Why does it look weird?
Yeah, it looks like a bad drawing of the Enterprise, right?
I mean, there were different class vessels.
I know, but this one I've never seen before, I don't think. Like it looks like it's just the saucer section with one nacelle.
I don't know. Well, is that one nacelle? It's really dark. It's kind of hard to see.
It's one nacelle. Yeah, just one.
It's one nacelle.
Yeah.
All right.
It's very weird to me. I mean, it's fine. I'm not mad. This is not a problem. I'm just saying that I guess it makes sense that it exists, but like my mind was like, oh, something's wrong. It's like uncanny valley because I'm so used to seeing the Enterprise. Like
what's interesting is this, the name of the ship is the USS Archer.
Oh, that's cool.
So, which is cool because it's, Enterprise captain, from earlier.
The first. Right?
The planet they're at is Kylie 279. And of course we learned that Una number 1 is there for first contact.
Right. She's there for first contact, which is great. Everything's fine. All right. We get to Bear Creek, Montana. Our boys watching some classic sci-fi.
Yeah, he's watching The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Yep, there's an attractive woman in his bed. So far, everything's screaming masculine out the gate. I'll tell you this right now. Oh man, this food makes me so hungry.
You got hungry than pancakes.
And then we see
Look at
him,
that bearded monster.
that giant, glorious beard. This boss man. He's so
Back in the
great.
day, we would have called him Grizzly Adams.
Grizzly
I don't remember that
Adams.
show.
He was great, man. Yeah, and he's having dinner now. He's having breakfast with what appears to be a captain.
Yes, Captain Batal.
So his girlfriend is a captain.
Yes, she looks a lot younger than him, but
A lot younger. Which, yo, bro.
when you get up close, you can kind of see the lines. But
Get
yeah.
it, bro. Get it. No problem.
What?
Do what you got to do. You know, I have no problem with the youth. But I feel like she does look she's a little too young to be a captain, but whatever. On the same note, this doesn't break any canon, right? Because we knew nothing about his personal life. So
We know very little about him, and I do want to point out, if we could, he went through the Day the Earth Stood Still pretty quickly, but the character in that movie, Klaatu, he's actually giving a speech about freedom and aggression by groups. Then he's basically saying these aggression can't be tolerated. He's saying you have the freedom to act responsibly, and his message very much mirrors what the Federation does in the future of that film.
Oh.
It was very, very intriguing. So
Cool.
Go ahead.
cool. Yeah. And so she's like, hey, when are you going to get back to your ship? His phone's ringing. His communicator's ringing. And he's like, nah, I'm not going back. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so he's bummed out. So what he experienced with the Discovery, this is a little weird though. So at the end of Discovery, he's on the bridge of the Enterprise and he's like, all right, let's go. Hit it. And they're going to go out on their mission or whatever. But apparently they were hitting it just to go home.
Well, we don't really know. I mean, we do know at some point the demons started haunting him. You know, when he was on that, when he was on Borath, that Klingon moon, you know, we find out in this episode that not only did he see his own death, but he experienced his own death. He like felt himself dying. And so the experience that he went through, obviously, maybe he hadn't, you know, maybe it hadn't caught up with him yet. Maybe he had time to think about it, because now he's seeing it everywhere.
That makes
so
complete
maybe-
sense. But like at the end of Discovery, where they're like, where to, Captain? He's like, we're going to go explore. And
they didn't know they were making a series at that point.
yeah.
You know, I mean, it's going to be hard to tie that back in. You know, you don't know, honestly, you don't know what they did between that point and him being in Montana.
That's true.
You don't know if they did some stuff and he had some. You don't know
That's
what
true.
happened. We don't know.
There couldn't have been a whole lot that happened, but
Why?
I'll just give it to him that, you know, Discovery.
Why couldn't there have been a whole lot that happened? They could have gone on 5 missions or 6 missions. They could have done stuff.
Answer could have just been Discovery just sucked, and this is where we're at now. So let it go.
But that part of Discovery didn't suck.
Right. You're right. You're right. They didn't
So
know they were
it's
making a
like-
series. That's what it was.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, he's haunted by his demons. He's getting calls. His girlfriend's like, pick up your phone. She's like, I'm actually going out on my ship. You know, when I get back, I'll see you, but I hope you're not here. Blah 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 blah.
I love that she said your phone is ringing.
Right.
Because it's a communicator.
Right. It's
But
communicator.
it didn't feel weird because it felt almost, because it's such an early version of Star Trek, earlier version, it didn't feel weird that she said phone.
Right.
You know?
Right. And to be honest, like the communicators look like phones back then. In the TOS era, they look like phones to me.
Yeah, for our time frame, yeah.
Right. Yeah, so he's on his horse. You know, one thing, this is not nitpicky. This is not nitpicky. This is not a criticism of Star Trek, but I'm criticizing pop culture here. Everyone always thinks that the windmill thing is like the future when it's literally the least efficient way to gather electricity. I'm just saying. Okay. All right.
And we say though that it's the most visually representation of a future that's got better energy.
Which is why you see these stupid things everywhere, because like it looks good, it looks great, blah, blah, but
Right.
The carbon footprint to make and maintain these things is there's a negative energy output here, guys. So
it's cool driving through.
Very cool.
Driving up and seeing a bunch of them though.
It's very cool looking. I get it, but it's there's more politics there than actual energy harvesting, and
All right,
it's
that's
fine. But whatever, it's fine.
It's futuristic looking, man.
I know. Strange New Worlds had the windmills. I mean, sorry.
I mean, they're in Montana. You know how hard it was to make something look futuristic up there.
I know. True that. No, in the Multiverse of Madness, there's the windmills too, and I was like, oh god, windmills. Everything's windmills, man. All right, so so they he's not entering his phone. We're just gonna find him, and that's when this is actually the very first Captain very first Captain Enterprise was Archer, but his the previous Captain Enterprise was this guy, right?
Yeah, this is Admiral Robert April. He was Pike's old captain, and he was actually in the if you go back to the animated series, he was a Commodore.
Cool. I love the new title sequence, but we've seen it before. But
he's basically ordering him to go because I love that he's basically saying, "Yeah, send somebody else." He goes, "You don't." What he say? He goes, "You don't want me on that ship." And he goes, you got me confused with yourself because you don't want to go on that ship." And I'm like, "Oh, that was a pretty clever line."
Right.
Oh, that was good.
So he's got to go and he's going to jump on the ship and he's going to pick up Spock. And they're going to go and find number one. Okay. So this is the Spock moment. And I'm very happy here.
Me too.
That T'Pring is just drop dead gorgeous. Thank God.
I'm so sorry. We skipped over it really quick. But at the end of the intro, I want to tell you that the intro that you were just showing is the best Star Trek intro yet. Of all the new Trek, this is the best Star Trek intro. And they got that classic TOS whistle at the end. That TOS, woo. I just love that. Love that.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, T'Pring.
T'Pring is drop dead gorgeous. My goodness. Okay. I mean, she is just like absolutely stunning, whoever this actress is. And she does a great job. She is emotionless. She's a Vulcan. She's She's probably playing a better Vulcan than Ethan Peck plays Vulcan. So no, not trying to throw shade. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Because I understand what you said, that we're going to see like the Spock we're seeing. We're not yet at TOS, and pre-TOS, he was a little more emotional or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's a good explanation. And I'm going to inject what you said into my head as canon. So that I can enjoy it, everything, because he does have like a lot of emotion in this, even in the first episode. It's and I'm going to chalk it up to, this is pre-TOS Spock, and he was emotional until he's figured out how to deal with his two halves. And so he had some emotion, so that's fine.
The character changed when they made the pilot, and then they went in to actually make the series. Spock was adjusted to be emotionless.
Yeah, so he's playing pre-Spock adjustment.
He's playing this pre-Spock adjustment.
Okay, which is fine. It's fine.
Which, by the way, if you watch Star Trek TOS and then go back and then watch, if you hadn't seen the pilot and then you watch it, Spock looks really creepy.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, it's still Leonard Nimoy, and he's just like, you're just like, oh gosh, I hate seeing Spock like that. So I get why it's cringe.
He actually has a similar haircut to the one to the one that Ethan Peck has now.
Right.
In the original one, he has like his hair is a little less perfect and a little more like evil looking,
Yeah.
So I don't know if they meant to do that or they're just trying to make him look sexy, but
Spock was supposed to be red.
Right.
But you couldn't see it on black and white.
Yeah, and they were like, people are, these Bible Belt people are gonna have a problem with like the pointy.
He's the devil,
devil character running around.
Right.
Yeah. So damn, T'Pring's a good looking woman. So it's interesting. So
by the way, the actress's name is Gia Sandhu. In case you're
write that down.
Check for later.
This is Gia. Okay. Anyways, I'm joking. I know.
So this is interesting here because
outside of Pon Farr, they're about to get down, right?
Yeah. So T'Pring asks Spock to marry her, and Spock basically says, "Oh, I was wondering if you were going to ask." So like, okay, this is another part of Vulcan culture we don't understand. Apparently, the woman asks, or the female asks the male. And then they get on and do the Vulcan horizontal mambo, and they're not in Pon Far.
Well, they're about to do the mambo.
Oh, they're about to.
They're
yeah.
about
but
to.
it's not Pon Far. So I mean,
But
I guess we've never really dealt with it outside of that situation.
Pike calls and totally cocksblocked the poor guy.
No,
And he's like,
he felt bad about it. He felt bad.
yeah, he's like, I need you to come back. We're gonna find number one. He goes, yes, Captain. I'm sure that's suitable. I'm sure it should be fine. J'Pring's like, I'm sorry, what?
But maybe Spock was the one in a hurry to get out of there. So I don't know.
Yeah, right? Jeez. You know what I'd be like? Hey, Captain, I need like 8 minutes, dude.
I need 3 minutes and 36 seconds. I've got this timed down.
I will call you back in 4 minutes. Okay?
Like literally, could it have waited 15 minutes or so or whatever?
4 minutes, Captain.
Give him an hour or whatever.
You have a teleporter, okay? Let me know when you're leaving. I'll be here till then.
I'll call you right back.
Yeah. But no, this whole interaction was fine.
Well, I really like that, she says something here that I think is important. She says, I won't chase you across the galaxy to get married, which totally lines up with what happened during TOS when Spock comes back, right? And he's in Pon Far, and she actually wants to marry somebody else. So she's trying to get him to basically, Kirk comes in, the whole thing. So she eventually, she basically says that, which lines up with TOS nicely.
Archmage said, were they going to have sex or some really aggressive mind melding?
Either way, count us in.
Yeah. Either way. I'm quoting.
Either way.
I love the new tech. I love so there's one thing. I was really concerned with how all the technology was going to look.
Yes.
Because I'm like, look, we tried this already. Like,
right.
we made Discovery and everything looked like it was post Voyager, right?
Right. Yep.
It didn't work. And like, how are they going to not only acknowledge the fact that they were in the Discovery crisis, which is what they called it,
which they do,
and they do, and then utilize the correct trick. So I knew, I'm like, all right, man, they're going to be utilizing like the tech that we saw on Discovery, which is going to definitely, no matter how good the show is, that's going to take me out of it because it doesn't fit, right? It doesn't fit with the time. They don't do it. Like they're using tricorders and they use the original tricorders. I love that. The big bulky ones. No, it's not. They do look a little bit more like modern in the sense where it's like someone
Very
made them
similar.
Someone made them better. Like someone made better versions.
Yeah.
You know, but they took the original and they made a more artistic, better version of that original.
Yes.
It's not a completely different thing. And it's great. And it has screens. And we never saw the screens and all that on TOS because obviously they couldn't do that.
Because you couldn't. Yeah.
But we can see it now. And the new way they do that actually makes it make more sense.
Right. It really adds to the lore of Star Trek.
Yes,
much better.
Does. It does. It looks really good. Really good. Even the big bulky tricorder with the little mini screens. Yeah. It's almost like the reason it's so bulky is because there's so many sensors. And there's all those little individual sensors are individual. And later on, the tricorder is smaller because the sensors are a lot smaller, which makes sense.
When you get to totally. When you get to TNG, it fits in a hand. Did you notice that the shuttle was named Stamets?
I did. Why?
Technically he's dead.
Okay, so it's like an homage.
So maybe it's a posthumous naming.
Posthumous.
Because that's the first thing I thought. I'm like, well, I guess technically he's dead, so maybe they would name it posthumously.
Okay, they want an homage to this guy. I guess Stamets was a big deal, right?
I guess he was, although his tech supposedly never existed. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. The Enterprise looks great.
It does. It looks really nice.
It looks so good, guys.
Love it. Love the graphics,
guys. And this is the problem I think I had with that Archer ship. Is the nacelle. There was one nacelle just sticking out of the saucer section instead of the saucer section into an engine with the nacelles sticking out of the engine. It was like they missed a component in the Archer. That's what was bothering me. But with this, it looks great. I love how there is clearly this is This is the Enterprise from the 60s. They took it and they made a better version of it. It's not a different ship, guys. It still has like the red, like, you know, the reason why the original Enterprise had those red glowing things at the end in the cells was because for the time, you know, that little LED was a futuristic thing for the model. Now it would look out of place. They somehow got this on there without making it look out of place, actually make it look like it's part of the ship. It's just, everything is way more, even the array in the front, which before looked like a 60s model, it looks like it serves a purpose. Like this is the best updated version of Enterprise I have ever seen.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
No, absolutely.
It's an absolute homage to the original in every detail. It's just so much more detailed and so much more lifelike and so much more realistic. This is the best. And I've seen so many versions. You know, this is the best I've seen.
It really did a good job.
Yeah. The lights in the front, even, like, just gorgeous, man. You know, the guys from the shipyards, whatever their names are.
Trek yards?
Yeah, Trek yards. I'm pretty sure, like, they saw this and, like, just passed out from all the blood rushing to the nether regions.
Yeah, no, for real. Oh, so in this moment here, Spock actually tells Pike, he says that Lieutenant Kirk will have to be billeted after the mission.
Yes. So right here, can I be honest with you, Shane?
Go ahead.
I was worried. Were you worried?
Well, yeah. Well, no, I wasn't worried because we know what really happens.
Well, we know that he comes in at season 2.
Right.
But in my mind, I was like, oh, what if that was all misdirection? Like we've seen in the past.
No. Well,
what if this is really weird? Like maybe they misdirected us in order to surprise us.
Well, based on where Kirk is in current timeline, it wouldn't have worked.
I know.
He's not a lieutenant right now.
Which is why I was worried, Shane.
Right. No, you know what they were doing here? They were trolling us, bro.
They were trolling us hard.
They were trolling us. They were getting everybody going, what? They did that shit. They did that on purpose.
Right.
They did that on purpose. They trolled us because later on, we won't talk about it yet. Later on, they're going to show us what Kirk it is.
Right. Which, by the way, it totally fits. And we'll see it. It totally fits. What they actually did, I had to go look it up. I was like, oh, this actually fit. This works. And
right.
It works
does
perfectly.
Work. Yeah. Right.
So it was great. You're right. I was like, oh, they better not bring Picard into this in the first episode. This is not going to be good. No matter how good everything else is, just like if he shows up on the bridge at the end of the show, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be
a huge problem. Yeah.
Everyone complains about. Right.
I was ready to complain about it.
Oh, the bridge looks so good. It looks so good. I know we've seen it before, but now seeing it like and not 2 seconds of a trailer, but like the whole thing, it's beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful. The sweeping line. This is a sexy bridge. Let me tell you why. So TNG had the whole like office building look. Like it looked like an office building.
Right.
TOS looked like a warship, almost like a submarine like ship, right?
Uh-huh.
Discovery had so much bling and zero substance. Now, and the original Enterprise looked like the NX-01 from Star Trek Enterprise looked definitely like it could be a version of the Enterprise bridge before TOS. Now they took that TOS bridge, and obviously it needs to be updated. Can't we use the original set, right? I get it.
Right.
But they added all those big, beautiful screens and buttons and all the stuff that you see, right? It's here, and it's visual, and they even multiplied it. They took that and they made it even better. This is not a departure. This is a truly an elevation, an elevation of the original bridge. Even with the LEDs around the guardrails, it works. It works, and it doesn't feel like they just made another bridge. It feels like if the original bridge was updated. That's what it feels like. I love it.
100%.
It was
really great.
At what point are we going to see the red door in the back, though? Because I want to see that red door.
I'm assuming it should be there. They're leaving no stone unturned here. So
Because that was in season 3 is when we got the red door of TOS, right? I think it was season 2 or 3. Anyways, looks great, beautiful. All right, we get to meet his his current acting number 1 is La'an, right?
Yeah, that was boy. Start out the fisticuffs or the punches right at that moment, right? Spock was not happy this happened,
Right.
and we get a nice little thing where he's like, oh, he was kind of confused, and oh, okay, and then Spock looks over. You get a second here where it happens, but yeah. So this lieutenant is number 1.
Uhura looks great, fantastic.
Yep. Love the earpiece. It's perfect.
Perfect. And the actress is perfect. I'm simping hard for Uhura right now. I saw some people on Reddit complaining about the fact that they have metal badges. Look, guys, it's 2022. We're not going to do cloth badges. So I understand that could be something you complain about if you really want to complain about something that small. It's not just small, literally, but also like an obvious thing they're not going to do. They're not going to have cloth badges. We already, there's no way it's going to happen. We did see a return to some of the skirts, which we'll get to that. Oh, look at that. I love the earpiece, man. It's great.
Yeah,
It's an
it's
updated
fantastic.
version. Actress looks great. She was doing good. We haven't seen much of her yet, but she was doing good so far. Everything's great. Blah, 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 blah. All right, the engine room. I want to talk about this real quick. Again, I don't know who's making these set pieces, but it looks like somebody carefully updated. Not they didn't just recreate. They looked at the original and said, okay, we're going to make a better version of this. We're not going to leave where this is at. We're not going to leave the general area that this, the look and feel of this. We're just going to make a better version of this. And they did. This is a good, really good version of the engine room. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It has all the colors with the grates. It looks like TOS, man. It's great.
Yeah, no, somebody cared about this.
Somebody really cared about this.
Yeah.
I want to know who created, did the graphics for this new ship. It's somebody. Just very good. Very good. Very good. Okay. Yeah.
There's a nice little joke here that Pike says to Spock. He says, "I'm all ears," and it was subtle. He's like, and it worked. I liked it. Spock was it was a moment blip on his gave him a funny look, but it worked.
Yeah. I do like the fact too that Pike is using all these human euphemisms. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Euphemisms and little quotes or whatever, and he's having to constantly explain what they are because he's dealing with a crew that's not from that place. I thought that was
younger.
cool. Yeah, or younger, yeah. He also quotes it. He quotes what's that book? Moby Dick in this, which was cool. And he has to explain himself. All right. So yeah, all is good. The communication.
Probably mentioned that he's seeing, he's having visions of his future disfigured self.
Right.
And that's what his struggle and strife is he's actually it's kind of interrupting his command a little bit, and where he should be telling them to do things, he's caught up in this memory. Right.
Now, to be fair, Ethan Peck and Anson Mount clearly have chemistry.
They do. They work well together.
They work well together. Even if
we've been pretty critical of Spock. Can we just say this for a moment?
Yeah, we have
been pretty darn critical of Spock, but honestly, he was good here. I didn't feel weird about him like I did during Discovery season 2.
I felt so weird during Discovery. It definitely feels better here.
I wonder if it's because Michael's gone. I wonder how much of it was Michael just being frustrated with the fact that she's his sister and forcing that on us. And then Ethan Peck unable to kind of just be Spock. He's got to be like Michael's in Discovery season 2. He couldn't be Spock. He had to be Michael's brother.
Yeah, Michael's brother.
Yeah. Now he's just Spock.
Yeah. So you take Michael out of the equation, and now we're. Yeah. You know what? That's a good point, because I was like, even if I love Strange New Worlds, I'm going to dislike Spock because of what I saw in Discovery.
Right.
But I got to remember, if you asked me in Picard season 1 what I thought about Alison Pillsbury character, I would have been like, she's the worst ever. And then I saw season 2 and my mind completely changed on that character. So the setting and the writing and what they're doing can totally change your opinion on that character. And maybe just enjoy Strange New Worlds as a standalone, and hopefully it don't mention Discovery too often. Maybe we're just this first episode,
I'm hoping this is it.
All right. So regardless, everything's looking good. Bridge is great. Now they're gonna go and they're gonna find number one. Now this is when you see the ship now. It's basically just a saucer section with a single nacelle. It's very weird looking. It's very weird. Anyways, the Archer is like, there's nobody on board. There's no one dead. There's no life signs, nothing. So they have to surmise that they're on the surface somewhere, and they gotta go to the surface. Now, in order not to break at this time, it's not called the Prime Directive. It's called General Order 1, which I thought was a great transition. By the way,
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
He even said that'll never catch on. We know.
Later on he did say that. Yeah,
that's what it's called.
Yeah, I thought that was a great joke. And this is a situation here where La'an, we don't really understand this character yet, but she has this moment of, we need to put up our shields, right? And Spock's arguing with her, right? And that it's not protocol. And she says, we got to do it. And Pike does it. And of course, they shot plasma torpedoes at him, which I find it interesting that, 21st century tech can damage our vessels now at this time, which is what they said. It's 21st century tech. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah. Seemed pretty powerful for 21st century tech.
Yeah. To be honest too, I also don't like their explanation of how they got the warp drive.
Oh, I kind of did.
Like they got it from reverse engineering what they saw.
No. So, number one, it's not a warp drive. They created a warp bomb.
Right. We get to that point, but
yeah,
how do they even get the warp technology in the first place?
So apparently whatever they saw that happened, whatever they were doing to send Discovery into the future, they were watching them do it, and apparently were able to glean something from that. They did not explain it really thoroughly, which I'm not sure it was important to do, because we don't need to know this society and every detail of how they do what they do. But I mean, they did such a good job with the show that I just trusted what they told me. That has a lot to do with Star Trek too. Sometimes if you're doing a good job telling a story and everything seems correct and feels good, I'm going to trust you in moments where you're asking me to just believe what you're telling me occasionally. And I think that was one of those moments where it would have taken away from the show to explain how they made a warp bomb. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah. It would have made more sense though, had a ship from that same encounter maybe crash there.
Perhaps, but then they would have just made a ship.
No, maybe they can't make a ship, but they can make a bomb. It's easier to make a bomb than make it's easier to make a bomb than a controlled explosion that creates an engine, right?
Right.
We got a super chat from Insane Hippie Insane. He said,
I love that name.
Making Burnham Spock's sister was the dumbest thing they did. Yeah, I agree with you.
Amen, Insane Hippie. Amen. I totally, to this day, I'll still feel the same way. I hate that. Thank you for the $5.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so I actually like the idea of the warp bomb. Had they found a ship, they can't make an actual ship work, but they can, it's easy to make something blow up, an explosion, than to make an engine that controls the explosion, because that's what an engine is, right? It's a controlled explosion. That would have made sense to me. But that's fine. You're right. I'm liking it enough to where I can totally look past that.
Yeah.
So she says throw shields up. He disagrees. They throw them up anyways, and some plasma torpedoes. Now they weren't that powerful, considering that they didn't even flinch. Pike is on the bridge, just looking at them hit the shields.
Well, I mean, he is, but what I'm saying is maybe the graphics were just really good.
Yeah.
Because it came in, it looked like
they weren't shields, they were deflectors too, right?
Deflectors, right. And and they didn't really describe, that's the other thing about the Archer. How many people were on the Archer? Didn't they say there was nobody on board the Archer?
He said, they said there's no one on board the Archer, but apparently there's supposed to be 3 people.
So there's only 3 people on the ship?
That's a tiny ship, huh? Why
Yeah,
is such a
that's
large saucer section then? Why not just a shuttle?
It's not a shuttle.
No, it's a smaller ship though.
Yeah.
Yeah, the design of the Archer
Seems like a small crew.
Yeah, the design of the Archer is weird to me. I feel like you didn't need it, but it's fine. Whatever.
There's a nice joke here.
What's that?
Where they talk about the 2 warring factions, and Spock mentions that Vulcans created First Contact, and then Pike says, "Oh, you're going to remind us of that again."
That's cool.
Right. So it's kind of nice. Nice throwback to Enterprise almost.
Yeah, and they did say like there was also a comment here from Pike about how Vulcans hold back humans or whatever. Very interesting. Yeah. So now when they scan the planet, they discover the warp. That's when they figure out that it's probably not a warp signature, but a warp bomb, right?
Right.
There was also an explanation here about how, I mean, for everyone else, the warp engine comes first, but who's to say you can't get this
is the first time. Yeah.
They also, there was a mention to like the atomic bomb. They're like, why couldn't you have the atomic bomb before you had a particle? I don't know.
Yeah.
It lost me.
I mean,
there.
it was very tech oriented. It was nice that we were just at least having these discussions.
Right. That's true. Now, Mbenga is awesome.
Oh, and Mbenga, yeah.
And so
there's
Chappelle.
a moment there. There's a moment there where when he sees La'an, he wipes his finger under his eye, and then she does the same back to him.
Oh, really?
And it's like a greeting, I guess. But I've never seen that before, and I wasn't able to find anything on it. So it'll be curious to see if that actually gets mentioned later. Like it's some sort of I don't know. Like they're both human, so
interesting.
Maybe it must be a cultural thing or something.
I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah. I didn't pick that up. Okay. So I like how they explain the science here, and they sort of this is a cool way to introduce something that we've always that doesn't break canon. Just sort of explains how it works, like the whole how do they make the different disguises. That's a cool idea.
Now this is how you write for Star Trek. Okay, this is a great example of everything we've talked about. How you write for Star Trek. You say, okay, I'm going to take something from Star Trek that is important in every episode of every series that we've ever had. They're always disguising to go among aliens. Mm-hmm. They take one element of something that's important to Star Trek, and they show us how it works. Right. That's good writing.
Right.
And they make it better. They actually make the canon, better for us instead of, just drive on by and don't say anything.
Right.
I thought this was a great moment. And of course, Nurse Chapel, I really like the Nurse Chapel character. Here's interesting. She's on a civilian exchange from the Stanford Morehouse epigenetic project. So she's a civilian, which is something we didn't know.
Is that why she's in white?
I don't know. Is Mbenga in white? No, he's in blue.
He's in blue.
Must be, because it says here that she's on a civilian exchange. So that must mean she's a civilian. And she says she's going to mess with their genome, which I thought was great. And she looked at Spock and said, and you're first. And they've got that future relationship that or one-sided relationship anyways.
Yeah, and apparently because of his human and Vulcan side, like the changes aren't going to last as long on him that it lasts on them. Right.
Which was okay. It was a good explanation. It created some some suspense when they actually get down to the planet, which is something we need. This is also something in Trek that you should do that's good, is use something that's realistic. If you want a plot device to make something happen. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're watching Picard or Discovery, they would have done something obvious. And they, in this case, they actually used something that was plausible to move the story along, as opposed to something that didn't mean anything.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And then she didn't want the sedative because I guess
I have a theory on that. My theory is, and as we learn about her character later on, I believe that she doesn't want the sedative because, likely she was a lone survivor, right?
Right. Of the Gorn.
Right.
Cool idea, by the way.
cool idea. I cannot wait till we get to the Gorn episode that's going to be coming up here in a few episodes.
What are the graphics going to look like?
Oh, I can't wait to see. I cannot wait.
Everything looks so good. Like you cannot mess up. Like I can't see how you're going to make the Gorn look right. But then also, I didn't expect this level of detail on the ship and everything they've done. So,
right,
Gorn look.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty impressive. I wonder if Lon wants to feel the pain, like maybe as a penance, or to be reminded that she can die, so that she can never be caught off guard and killed. Because it's something that they go into is like, you know, and it actually helps. It actually helps later on for Pike when she says, you know, if you don't realize you can die, then that's when you get killed. And so I wonder if she wants to feel pain to be reminded that she can die. Maybe.
So so this CRISPR tech, basically, that's what it is. It's temporarily rewrites their genome and gives them those secondary features, which is cool.
Which was cool. It worked out really well.
Yep. Yeah, and the makeup looks great. It looks so good.
Makeup's so good. I love right here when Mr. Kyle's like beaming him down,
and he winks at him.
He's like, "Don't lose my socks, Mr. Kyle."
Yeah, very cool.
I love all his cool lines, man. He's just so cool.
Yeah,
Pike's cool.
Pike is great. All right, and then we get to Pike is really fantastic. He
really is so good, dude. He's
so good.
Anson Mount, he was made for this role.
Yeah. So this is interesting. Yeah. This is like riots. This is like what the United States is going through in 2019 and 2020, right? Like,
yeah.
Like for like 8 months.
2021, yeah.
What?
2020 and 2021.
Oh, wasn't it happening in 2019? When
happened
was that?
after it happened after Corona. Because remember, there was all this discussion about masks, not wearing masks, and people being upset.
When were like the Antifa riots in like?
Oh, those probably those started a while.
Because that was like because the riots and all that, those weren't from masks. So the riot that they showed here, that there was the January 6th thing, but the majority of these riots, like if they're trying to draw a comparison, it wasn't just January 6th. There was like months and months of riots. Like it reminded me of that. It reminded me of that sort of vibe.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like when they were burning down police stations in Portland, Oregon, and stuff like that.
I think that was the point.
Right. Makeup looks great. Spock is like, why don't I have pants on? Because he's wearing shorts.
Oh, and Pike also says, he made a joke here. He's like, why is it always in an alley?
Right. Because it always is an alley.
Such great, because they always get beamed into an alley. Well, so you can't be seen, buddy. Come on, you know that.
Yeah, they use the Vulcan nerve punch and they send those people. She's really sort of calling shots right here, guys. The security, she's like, let's do this, do that. And he's like, yeah, sure, why not?
Well, it's funny because I wrote something in my notes. I'm like, and by the way, I do like this character.
Right.
But at this point, I'm like, man, this Lon is like a bitch, right? I'm like, she's really like, something's going on here with her. You end up really liking her a lot, but up to this point, she's kind of a little bit annoying.
Yeah, she has some like real intense baggage.
Yeah, and we learn what that is, and then you're like, okay, I totally get it. That makes sense.
Yeah,
I would probably be the same way, and we learn about that. But you got to admit, she does do some pretty cool stuff here. And Spock, what I love about this is that, Spock's always got it together, in everything we've ever seen with Star Trek. But in this thing, he's like one step behind her the whole way so far. Mm-hmm. Even in this point where he's got to she's like, oh, my neck, or can you, check his neck or something like that. And Spock's like, oh, Vulcan prick, these goes over. And he's like one step behind her mentally.
Yeah, he did ask a question. How did we even know that was going to work on him? And she's like, well, it did, didn't it?
Yeah. So it's funny. And that shows their line of thinking. Like she's willing to take a risk just in case, and he's not. Very Vulcan thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, her baggage is so intense that maybe she shouldn't be serving on board a ship. It's a really intense baggage. And
It's really it's disturbing.
It's disturbing. Which now that's why I cannot wait to get to the Gorn episode. Oh, it's gonna be great. Anyways, blah blah blah. Okay, so they send those guys to the ship, and one of them wakes up and like runs out.
Oh, that was so great.
And he's like, "Go get our chicken or whatever he called it, a rabbit."
Well, no, what's funny? They called it. Actually, this is very cool. Because when he went to go run, they said they have a Delta Scorpy 7 situation, which probably alludes to like another mission they were on.
Oh, I see.
So, which hopefully we'll learn in the future. But this is this moment right here with this guy running around with his chicken with his head cut off. And you've got all these characters reacting very calmly, like it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
And this is the moment during the show where I said, okay, this is something that Star Trek just doesn't do. And this is the first time they're doing it. This crew is so confident in what they're doing. They're so positive about what's going on. They don't freak out. They don't panic. They just, take care of it. They're cool cucumbers. If this was Discovery, this wouldn't be happening on Discovery.
No, this is the first time we've seen this since Enterprise, honestly. So for like 22 years now, we haven't seen competent people. We've seen like a bunch of emotional people working out their own problems, while their secondary stories are being Starfleet personnel. And now we're seeing Starfleet personnel, and the secondary stories are their personal problems. And it's great.
Yeah, the secondary story is not the primary. And it's like, just loving Nurse Chapel here, man. She's running after this guy, and nobody's panicking. They've got the new character on the bridge, and she's got the con, and she makes this great comment. She's like, it's always when I have the chair, when I'm in the chair, and I thought that was great. It was light,
Right. No, it really worked. And you're right. Yeah, we're seeing Starfleet members, and their job, and the story is them being Starfleet, and their secondary stories are their personal lives. When in Discovery and a lot in Picard, and what we really see with those is not. We see their personal lives as their story, and their secondary story is them being in Starfleet. Like that's the setting. The setting for their story is they're in Starfleet, but here's the story: my issues, my problems, whatever.
Right.
And a galactic ending event.
To get us back to Star Trek, we need a galactic ending event.
Right. Yeah. All right. And remember, even the ship had a personal problem.
That's great. Look at her just trucking after. Yeah. And then the way Uhura, like people get mad at me because I say Uhura. Uhura.
Oh, someone asked me, they're like, what? They're like, why do you keep saying Uhura like you're South African or something? I forgot what it was. I was like, because he is South African.
Well, I say Uhura because I speak Spanish to some degree.
All right.
And I want to roll my R's with her. I have no idea why. But it is Uhura.
It's a hard name to say.
It is a tough one.
Hard name to say.
When you say it as much as we got to say it in a video, it gets tough.
Uhura. Yeah, they get bad security, blah, blah. I don't want to go through all the tiny little things, but this is great here. Uhura is talking to this guy like it's like just having a normal conversation with him. Like this is like the guy that ran away.
Oh yeah, no, I think that was great. She got him. She got him to calm down.
Right.
And this was what was cool. She shows up, and it's such a great scene. They get into the elevator, to the lift, right? And she's standing there, and she's like looking over at him. She just gives him the side look over there, and he looks at her, and it goes away. And then she mentions like whatever sport they have on their planet, and he's like, "You know what that is?" And all of a sudden, he's disarmed.
Right.
And she's charming, And then he steps out of the elevator, and Chapel gets him. And there's such good teamwork. It's like they know how to work together. Come on. We haven't got this in Trek yet. No wonder they kept telling us, you guys are going to like this. This is a back to old Trek. They told us. They're right so far.
What really bothered me about that is about what you just said was, I don't feel like this is very hard. I feel like it's harder to try to change what Star Trek is.
That's a good point. Yeah, just making Star Trek better and and bringing it into the future should be easier than making something completely different.
That's what,
which is what they did with Discovery.
Right. They made something completely different with a Star Trek name and wrapped in Star Trek,
Lore.
underwear, but not Star Trek. All right.
Right.
All right. Yeah. So everything's going good. Now they're back on the surface.
Yeah.
What? Go ahead.
No, this is a great scene because, well, it's very interesting because they're having this problem. They can't get in because Spock's eye thing isn't going to work when he gets, when they actually go in and they need to get through security, Spock doesn't have enough juice.
Right.
So they're trying to figure out, they're going to send this down to him. And I love this moment because Mbenga says, I want you to pinpoint the location and beam down the eye salve. And Chief Kyle's like, that's not how transporters work. Right. And then I think it's Ortegas that says, I can't remember who it was, but I think it was Ortegas that says, we'll figure it out and make it happen. Or maybe it was Nurse Chappelle that said, we'll figure it out and make it happen. Right.
Right.
And somehow they're able to do it. I've never seen that in Star Trek before. They beamed the salve into his eye.
I haven't seen that either. That seems super dangerous.
It seems a little bit over the top, but like I said, once again, I'm loving it. I like what they're doing. Right. And so therefore I trust you.
Right.
So, and it works.
Yeah. Good Star Trek characters and good Star Trek writing and using like the normal principles of Star Trek, it goes a long way. People go, oh, well, there were bad episodes of Voyager, yet you like Voyager. Yes. There was bad episodes of DS9, like DS9. Yes. There were bad episodes of TNG and TOS. You're like, yes. But the show as a whole, I liked. So when the bad stuff came up, I can be like, yeah, that wasn't great. Or that didn't make a lot of sense. But I'm having so much fun with this in general that I can overlook a lot of the weird stuff. Like, dude, I'm going to say it again. I love Voyager. It's one of my favorite series. The Kazon are the worst aliens to ever exist in Star Trek.
I hate the Kazon. I hate when Janeway and they make the babies, those lizard babies, and turn whatever.
Yes, the lizard babies. Yes, when they evolve or evolve, but then they because time is secular, they devolve or whatever.
There's bad episodes, but it's good Trek overall.
Right, and the Kazon were the worst. I remember watching the Kazon being like, oh god, these are the worst. How are they? They have like 13 IQ and yet they're driving starships. They can't figure out how to get water, but yet they can make a starship. It makes no sense. But I loved it. Voyager as a whole was so good that the bad episodes and the bad plots and the weird and some of the bad aliens, I can overlook that. But when Star Trek is not Star Trek, and you're already going into that with like, oh, this is not really good Star Trek at all, then all the little stuff is so glaring that you can't just accept anything. There's no acceptance. You got to just nitpick everything now.
You end up getting nitpicked down. Yeah. What did you think of the emergency medical transporter? That's something that I do not recall, and it would have been tough for them to do back in TOS. I mean, but it makes sense to have one in your sick bay for emergencies, right?
Yeah.
So they had one. That's how they got it down.
I didn't think about it at all because I think that I assume that would be a normal part of I feel like that's pretty. Like if I was making a ship in that time with that technology, I'd be like, yeah, we should probably throw a little mini transporter in sickbay.
Right.
I know they didn't have that in TOS, or they never said they did, but
there's.
If I was designing a spaceship in that time with that technology, yeah, that would definitely be part of sickbay.
And that's what I love. It makes sense, right? That makes sense. We didn't see it. We didn't have one in TOS, right. And in every other iteration of Star Trek, they've just beamed people wherever they wanted to. But at this time, I don't know, you want to have the ability to beam things because you're in a med bay. It just makes so much sense. It was so clever. I like that.
And you know what? The more importantly, there was never a point in TOS where they were like, we don't have a transporter here.
Right.
So it's like, it's not a contradiction. It's just like, let me just add to the lore because it makes sense that this would be the case, that there would be a transporter in this very, very important part of the ship. It makes sense. So I can I can get behind that.
Yeah.
In fact, I like it. It's not just I can accept it. I think it's good. It's
It made
a good
it better.
idea. Right.
It
Makes
made
it better.
better.
Right. Yeah, now they find Una. I hate the fact her name is Una, by the way. I'm never gonna let that go.
It's terrible.
That's a terror. That's a terror.
It's absolutely terrible.
That was a
they
terrible
made her
decision.
name Una.
You
It's
should-
like
should have given her any name but the word for one in Spanish, please.
it's like one of the writers from Picard said, "Hey, I got some advice for you guys. Don't listen to the Picard writers, guys.
Yeah.
Don't do it."
Just because her title is number 1 doesn't mean her name has to be Una. That
Doesn't
is
have to mean the word one in Spanish.
I got $10. Says the person that came up with that is the same person that came up with 10 and forward being the name of the bar for a guy in.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, so let me play devil's advocate. Okay, let's say she was called number 1 in the pilot episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they said, well, what if her name really is number 1 and it was just a clever nickname from the captain?
Nicknames are usually shorter versions of the name.
That's a good point. That's a
Not
good point.
not
All right.
for 14 more syllables.
I'm done defending it. Sorry.
Yeah, nice try though, man.
That was my best try.
Yeah. Plus in TNG, Picard, because in the Navy, number 1 is a thing.
There
in the
was
Army,
no number
one's a
one.
thing.
Yeah. Well, there was no number 1. My first officer, did he call him number 1?
Yes, So
No,
my first
he didn't call me
sergeant, our lieutenant would call our first sergeant number 1 all the time.
In the Navy, we didn't do that.
Oh, okay. Well, in the Army, maybe it's a nickname because he was first sergeant. He would say, "Hey, 1, come here, 1."
Well, it was Picard who started the number 1 stuff.
Oh, so maybe my lieutenant was saying that.
Well,
as
it
a
wasn't
nickname.
Picard. Sorry, it was Jeffrey. It was the Cage. It was the original Pike started the number 1, but Picard also called Riker number 1. But I know that Spock was Kirk's first officer, but I don't remember him referring to him as number 1 ever. So it's been a while since I watched.
When I was in the
TOS for
military,
50th
I remember my
time.
lieutenant calling my first sergeant 1.
Well, first sergeant. I mean, that kind of makes sense, but that's your first sergeant also isn't second in command of the ship. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So the XO is usually executive officers, the next in charge. I don't know.
I don't know.
Keep
Whatever.
rocking it.
Still good. That's like
Not a big deal. Una's kind of a weird name.
still Una was a bad decision, regardless.
What's weird is Una. Go ahead.
I can look past it though because the show so far has been so great.
This show's so good so far. We're not going to complain about it.
Yeah, whatever.
So Una and La'an know each other,
Right.
and she called Una Chief.
Right, because she was chief on the ship she was on before Enterprise, right?
I mean, I'm guessing now she was an ensign on board the King Jr. Now, this is very interesting. The King Jr. is the ship that we'll learn rescues La'an. Is it Martin Luther King Jr.? Is that why it's the King Jr.?
I don't know. Why would you call it King Jr., not Martin Luther? Not the Martin Luther. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm just not sure what every ship has a name for a reason. King Jr. is the first time I've ever heard of it. I'm assuming it's Martin Luther King Jr.
Why is the Enterprise called the Enterprise?
Well, enterprises have been around since, for centuries.
Oh, really?
So yeah, the Enterprise is,
Was there
some of
actually
the
like,
first-
was there actually like an old England ship?
HMS Enterprise. Yes, sir.
Oh, it was real?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a holodeck thing. I didn't know that.
No,
That's cool.
dude, that's for real.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's rad as hell.
That is rad.
Yeah, and I know that there's an Excelsior and a Reagan. Is there a Reagan?
There is a Reagan. Yeah. I was on the Reagan.
Interesting.
I served aboard the USS Ronald Reagan.
Now Stargazer, that's a new thing.
Yeah, I mean they're going to come up with names for the mostly names of ships are named after either presidents or they're named after battles or they're named after people who've died. So that's pretty typical for the Navy.
Okay. Yeah, so this part is when this is good. So his prosthetics are wearing off
Mm-hmm.
and he gets he covers his face. I can't play too much of it, but he basically gets super angry.
Oh yeah, he's in pain, dude. That was pretty wild because Spock is able to withstand pain. So that was very interesting.
Right. And they beat up all those people. and get in
Because he
the
said,
elevator.
hold on. He said it was too painful, Captain. And he screamed.
Right. And
Well,
so
Han didn't scream.
oh, good point.
Spock's supposed to be able to tolerate pain. So this just shows a Spock that has not matured.
Right.
You know, maybe it's one more sign towards, you know, he's not the Spock we know yet.
He's not that Spock yet. Yeah, so I love this moment. I told you about this. When he's like, we're going to beam you out, me and Spock are going to stay.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Oh, but sir, what about General Order 1? He goes, I don't care about that. Go to the ship.
He said, he literally said, screw General Order 1.
Right. And he's
Yeah.
like, he just took charge and they didn't doubt him. There was no changing of the plans. There was no backstabbing him and doing what they thought was better.
Yep, there was no first officer changing his mind. Right.
Nothing like that. It was, this is an order, go, and it was done. If this was Discovery, this wouldn't have happened.
It would have been a discussion. It would have been, but, blah, blah, blah. Their feelings might get hurt and,
Pause the elevator. Let's have a nice little round table about it. And, oh, you still want to do it? We're going to do something different, which is going to work out and show that you actually had the wrong idea because God.
You totally just nailed it right there. That is exactly what it is.
And I'm so glad that the second the captain said, get out of here, it just happened.
They just did it.
Right. Great. And it could have been the wrong decision, but it was his decision to make. That's the important part.
Yes. And he's not the only captain to disobey that order. Kirk does it all the time. It's part of kind of the whole cowboy, Federation Starfleet thing at the beginning. So.
And it's interesting too, because you can tell Spock didn't fully agree with him, but
right.
He was like, I don't know about this, man, but I'm here. Pretty much.
You're the boss.
You're the boss. Yeah. And they level when the elevator opens, I'm gonna get to that point.
And that's appropriate for Spock. The Spock that we know and love would say,
this might not end well.
Captain, that's not what we're supposed to do. General Order number 1 says, so it was a natural thing.
Again, though, he didn't push back. He just expressed his thoughts respectively and then continued on with his orders.
Well, he's also not number 1.
Right.
He's not the XO.
Right.
So it's not his job to question the captain yet.
Right.
That's Una's job.
Yeah. And then all these people, pointing weapons at him. Good. And then go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say that they figure out at this point that, or Una's the one who tells them that the action at Discovery to send into the future is what gave them warp capability. And I thought that was a nice moment. Actually, I was okay with that connection with Discovery, because the show is a spinoff of Discovery technically.
Right.
And so I was okay with that. But let's make that the last time it's mentioned.
Yeah, let's never mention Discovery again.
We don't need it mentioned. It's bad enough that Admiral April had to get special consideration so that he could learn what happened at that event, because remember, nobody's supposed to know.
Right. So that means that past this episode, we shouldn't talk about Discovery. We shouldn't talk about Michael Burnham or Spock's ex-sister, because if it's such a secret, I don't think Spock should be, constantly referencing his sister to everyone around him.
We should never hear it again, because once we get to TOS, we never hear from her.
This should be the last conversation about Discovery, unless there's another story at some point that somehow directly correlates to that specific point in time.
Right.
All right. So they're in front of the prefect. I think it's a prefect. I don't know. I assume that's like the name of a general.
Yeah.
I'm going to say prefect. I don't know.
Person in charge. Yeah.
Right. And they're explaining that they're aliens, basically. And they're like, hey, listen, you got to chill out with that bomb. You're going to destroy everything. And they're like, well, our job is to sort of our plan is to kill them.
Yeah. It's like, no, that's what we are going to do. And she was very calm about it. Yes.
That's why we made the bomb. It's a bomb.
That's why we made it.
Yeah.
To kill them.
And so they're going to take him away. And I love this moment when he's like emergency communicator or whatever. Because that, by the way, it makes total sense that you should be able to voice command your communicator if you need to.
It does. Yes.
I know we've never seen that, but it makes complete sense.
Yeah. I
can voice command my phone right now, and this is 2022,
I mean, I might have reacted differently if I was the security escorting him out than to let him just do that. But I love that she says, you know, it's the person with the big stick that wins.
Right.
And he says, and so he calls the Enterprise and he goes, well, guess who has the biggest stick here?
Right.
And I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he does. Yeah. He could just start firing on him he wouldn't do that, but you know, just totally took her with her own argument.
Yeah. That was super like,
and then it forced the factions to actually meet because now they've got this. Now everybody's aware that there's aliens here.
That just reminded me of like a Patton thing when someone accused him of not having the balls to do something, and he took his penis out and put it on the table. It's like, sorry, what was that?
Yeah,
just had the same effect where it's like, let me just show you how this works.
Right.
Not that I'm going to do anything about it, but let me show you our power.
Right.
Yeah, now they have to acknowledge the giant. So before, when they saw the other ship, they were keeping it secret, right?
Yeah, it was still in orbit, so not everybody could see it.
Yeah, so now they're seeing the Enterprise literally like in the sky.
Right.
Which is cool. I do love the fact that like I feel like they put the Star Trek emblem on just everything in this show.
Why not, right?
Like for real, the hypo sprays had a little Star Trek emblem.
Mm.
Like everything in the show has a little Star Trek emblem, and it's sort of cool.
Give me more Star Trek.
Even if it's not necessary, I get it. I don't care.
I don't care. Brand it. Brand it.
Brand
Star
it all. Because now they're gonna be able to sell like the Star Trek hypo sprays.
Okay, yeah.
Think about that. They're gonna sell those toys again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
nice conversation here.
Yeah, there was. I can't play it, so want to go into it?
No, but we can explain it. So she tells her story here.
Right. The Gorn. Super intense.
It's so crazy. She kind of explained this actually gives Pike an ability to heal. She explains that her family was basically taken by the Gorn and they deposited him on one of their nursery planets. And she was the only one who survived. Dude, the Gorn used her family members as breeding sacs, which means they basically killed them and then laid their eggs inside of them.
So metal.
That is so hardcore.
That is so metal. That's like the most metal thing I've ever seen in Star Trek. The only thing as metal as that is the Borg.
Yeah.
That is so gangster. Wow.
I mean, the Gorn terrified me when I was a kid. Okay. So that episode where in Arena, where the Gorn and Kirk are fighting,
right?
I'm just like, oh my God, please let Kirk get away. Like the Gorn almost gets him a few times. And like, I was like really stressing out for Kirk, right? I was a kid.
Right. But did you know that the Gorn were spacefaring species though?
Yes, because they were both taken from their ship. So they took they took basally the captains of each ship.
See. I don't know, for some reason, when I watched that episode when I was younger, I thought that it was just like a monster.
No, yeah. So it's funny because basically, a space, like a Q type entity or like an entity is able just to pluck them and put them on the planet and have them fight. So what's interesting is you realize that's like a terrifying character, but now knowing that like all these other things that it can be, that how, is just disgusting and even more scary. And knowing we're going to have I think it's episode 3 or episode 4 coming up. We have a Gorn episode.
Right. In Enterprise, they had some Gorn too, but they didn't, they touched on them, but they didn't really get really deep into them.
Right.
And, the Gorn are going to be gnarly. Excuse me, guys.
Hold on.
Ban that person in the chat, please. That's advertising.
Remove.
I did the wrong thing. I can't.
Just remove
report.
It, right?
There you go. Report.
Oh, report. Okay.
Yeah. So they can't come back.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. I can't. Now I can hide them. There you go. All right. So I reported them, I kicked them, and they're heading. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Because that cannot get our stream turned off. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Okay. So yeah, who's right now is living La Vida Loca. It's the guy who played the original Gorn who goes to every one of the Star Trek conventions. Like he's got all his stuff signed. It was like, the Gorn live.
The Gorn live.
Old dude, right? Yeah, always taking pictures with everybody.
They better have, I don't think the Gorn are going to be people in makeup.
No, I don't. Well, I don't know.
Because in Enterprise, the Gorn were like 3D characters.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what they do.
So, but if they are people in makeup, and that poor guy doesn't get a cameo
Yeah, right.
after like 60 years of holding the Gorn up, 50 years of Gorn this, Gorn that.
They 100% would do that if that was the case.
Or at least make him like, if they are 3D, please make him one of the people that get eaten by a Gorn in a scene or something.
Something, right?
That'd be only fitting, right?
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So he beams down. He's like, "Oh, hey guys." I thought that was cool.
Oh yeah, he's like, hey,
sorry, I'm late.
He's disarming, he's like, I'm not threatening, kind of thing. And then he goes on to basically show them what they're about to do to their planet.
Oh, I love when he takes over their TV like it's no big deal. He's like, let me just very Tony Stark moment there.
It's kind of like you when you come to my house and all of a sudden I'm like, how is he doing that?
That's true. I also love that their signs are not in English. Thank God.
Right.
Thank God there's some weird language. I'm sure there's some hardcore Trekkies out there literally making an alphabet out of this new language right now.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, he shows that like in 21st century, there was riots. There was this quick scene of like the January 6th thing. I'm assuming they're referring to like the 6 or 7 months of riots that led to a civil war. And he does say there was a civil war and then eugenic war. And I guess he was just clumping them all into one area. But he set them out of order, though, right?
Yeah.
Because eugenic wars did come before Civil War.
Yes, the eugenic. Yeah, I think he was just lumping it all into the same time frame. So it would have been from 1990 through 2030, 2050. Right. Well,
yeah. Then he talks about World War III and how it decimated the planet and blah blah blah.
And he showed visualness of it, which is neat because we've never had any actual visual.
Look at that carnage, dude! Oh my God, I gotta play us a little bit of this, right?
That's nuclear war, brother.
Jeez,
that's it.
Absolutely.
Don't ever want one of those to go off. Hey, dear Soviet Union, I'm sorry, Russia. It's not Soviet Union anymore. Dear Russia, Putin, take a look. Don't do that, okay? Let's just leave Ukraine alone.
What about North Korea? I'm like, North Korea are still working on smartphones. I think we'll be okay.
They do have nuclear weapons, though.
They're like stuck in the 80s though. Like they're still in like the 80s.
They still have they have a bomb, then.
Okay. All right.
Still scary. They could hit Japan.
I feel like if North Korea was actually a threat, like there'd be some like black ops CIA guys that just flies overboard, just jumps down there, just murders Kim Jong-un and just walks away.
You would think, but you don't want to go around assassinating people because you never know what's going to happen to you.
The way wars are fought now are at least the way the United States fights wars now, like real wars, is I don't think they really fight them the way they used to. I think a lot of wars are now back alley deals, CIA nonsense, and just sort of covert stuff. And like, they just sort of keep everyone else out of it now.
Right.
It's bad. You know why? Because it's bad for business.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. Yeah, that's true.
Sorry. Back to this.
So,
I like the makeup on the new characters too. I'd love them, actually.
Yeah, that was good. No, I really did. I liked it. This is the first time, no joke. This is the first time I got like Star Trek goosies since Enterprise. Like where I feel that moment of hope, where I feel like the way I feel when I watch Star Trek, especially the first time I watch a series, is I just have this wonderful feeling. Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I just have this wonderful feeling inside where I get these, kind of the happy shivers. Yeah. I got that with this, man. I got it here.
Goosebumps.
I got it. I felt the Star Trek in my soul.
Yeah.
And just like I used to. And I'm so happy. I can't wait for next week already.
Yep. And we got a little bit of everyone. I like how they showed that their entire culture is now changed because of this. Like they're in school, they're learning about the ship. They're making little, they're actually showing what the difference between the Vulcans and them are.
Right.
Like their entire culture now is being changed because of this first contact.
Yep. It's completely impacted. Right. Just like it probably was with Earth when the Vulcans came.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like an Orville. That one planet, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, they make they're making that's cool. Great. Awesome. The space station is lit. I love the space station. So cool. And they even explain how, I guess originally these little pods or whatever they were up there for some other purpose, and Starfleet built around them, which is really cool.
It was to save the seeds before nuclear war happened.
Right. Yeah.
So that is similar to what a space station looked like in TOS as well.
It is,
which is kind of cool.
Yeah, really cool.
You just pull the ship up and get off,
Yeah, very cool. Loved it. Loved everything about it. Yeah, I got nothing to say but good stuff. And I love his badge. He has the Admiral.
Yeah, that's cool.
Awesome. I want that badge. Yeah, man. And you got anything else here?
Oh yeah. So we got to talk about Lieutenant Kirk, who finally came to the bridge.
Okay, let's get to that. Let me fast forward to that.
Because it said Lieutenant Kirk's on his way to the bridge, and I went, "What the heck is going to happen right now?"
I was so worried until there he is. Until Porn Stash came on.
I know, right? So
they said it was George Samuel Kirk, which is Kirk's older brother, who was a scientist, basically.
Yes. So Sam Kirk is James T. Kirk's brother. Mm-hmm. And he was actually, the character was in the original series, but he only appeared as a dead body.
Right.
And he was played by William Shatner with a mustache.
Right. But look how perfect.
I know.
This guy's a ringer for that dead body.
And he works for Spock, which is fantastic.
Which is awesome.
So here's what's really cool. We are going to get Kirk and his brother and Sam interaction, I think, during season 2. Yeah. Like their relationship was going to be somewhat explored.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That is pretty cool. So yeah, so they got us, and they did this on purpose, which is pretty clever. They're like, whoa, what's going on? And then we get, and it's part of canon. It's accurate. So that was great.
It's really good. It's really
clever. Good writing, guys. Good job. Hey,
good writing.
Credit where credit's due. New Star Trek.
Listen, I have not said this in a very long time. Well done.
Yeah.
In a very long time, I've said stuff like, oh, good or bad, or that wasn't a bad episode, or good start, all that. I don't think I've said in any of our podcasts at any moment about Star Trek until now, that was good. It was good writing, good character development. It was fun. It was informative. It expanded on Star Trek. In every way, this was an amazing episode of Star Trek and a perfect start to Strange New Worlds. Yeah, very good.
We did have high praise for Picard season 1, episode 1.
We did, but we still said we are consciously optimistic. I'm sure it's fine.
Picard shook us a little bit.
Right, because Picard season 1 shook us. So this is great because, I mean, dude, I'm looking. Next week is gonna be great. I can't wait. Every week is gonna be an amazing episode of Star Trek. I hope.
And we'll be breaking it down for you. I mean, granted, we've been talking now for 3 hours and 50 minutes for 2 shows. Luckily, Picard is done. So now we'll just be talking about Strange New Worlds every week. So make sure you guys come back. And for you guys that have just stalwarts, have been stayed here and watching the whole time, we love you and appreciate you so much. Just so thankful for you guys.
Yes. Okay. So, all right, let me. What's up next? That's the end of that. We're gonna talk about. Do you want to talk about Zachary Quinto right now, or
just quickly?
Okay.
Because we are moving to the member section.
Okay. So we're moving to the member section, but before we do want to touch on this. Zachary Quinto is unsure that Star Trek 4 will shoot this year, and we both know why.
We do.
Because they don't want to do this without Bones. You know that, right?
That's right. Carl Urban, they want to do it with him, and he's going to have he's shooting the boys, so they aren't going to be able to start shooting until next year. You're right.
And you know what? Now I realize why that video, our Star Trek 4 video, is like cranking views right now, is because this news came out.
It's because this came out, which meant, guess what? It's about Carl Urban. Now, they don't say it here. Quinto is it basically says he's not guaranteed for Star Trek 4 yet. So he not only does he put out this stuff, not unsure it'll start this year, but he's not even officially signed to be part of the show yet, which would be a huge problem.
Yeah. If you try to make a Star Trek 4 without Zachary Quinto, then you are asking for your money to be flushed down the toilet. I don't understand why you would even look. This is obviously his PR people being like, look, it's not shooting yet. And we're not even on board yet. This is the same thing The Rock does, Henry Cavill does when they're talking about a sequel to one of their movies. It's because their PR people and their agents, they put this out there so that the rags pick it up, and they use it as a negotiation tactic when it comes to getting their contract set up.
Right. Sure.
This is completely fine. This is a part of Hollywood. I can show you so many articles on the Wayback Machine where it shows our actors that haven't even been spoken to yet, or they're still trying to figure out their schedule. And realistically, they've already worked it out that they're going to do it, but they got to be in a position of power in order to get the most amount of money for their contract.
Yeah, and they really made a mistake when they dropped the date of the release for the movie before they even had the actors signed. Just craziness. Like J.J. Abrams felt so strongly about that it was going to happen. He dropped the date. I mean, I don't know. That was a mistake, I think. Make sure you got your people in hand,
Well, that was probably Paramount being like, look, we are all in on Star Trek, so go make that happen, boss.
Well, I get it, but it's like you just announce why. I mean, why announce it?
Also, JJ is used to being given a blank check. He really is.
Yeah, but actors got jobs,
Yeah, money moves mountains, dude.
It's going to be really hard. If they don't start filming before the end of the year, it's going to be really hard for them to make a December 22nd, 2023 release. So we'll have to see what happens. That is kind of the news that's going on. So we're going to stay up on this. And of course, anytime something pops, we're going to get you there, because Star Trek 4 movie is something we want to see. We want to see the original cast back together again. So.
And if for some reason you haven't seen our video on this exact topic, then do yourself a favor and us, and go to our main channel. Right there it is. I'll show you the link. Go to this main channel. It's right here. Problems for Star Trek 4. No, not Star Problems for Star Trek 4, Carl Urban, Bones, studio priorities, questionable. It's right there. Where is it at? Right there. Nope, right there. All right, click on that, and it is 11 minutes explaining exactly how it works and what's happening.
Absolutely.
And Shane does an amazing job in that video, by the way.
What's that?
You do a good job.
Oh, thanks, man.
That's a well-written 10 minutes, dude.
But it is only as good as it is visual, my brother. So. Well, thank you.
I might make you look good, but
you do. Let's go over here to the chat. Jeremy Schneider says, I'd rather have season 4 of The Boys than a Star Trek 4 movie.
I want to have both.
Can we have both?
I mean, The Boys is a really good TV show.
Yeah. Let's go back up here a bit because we missed a few comments from the last one. Let's see here. Captain, I'm about to go where no man has gone before. Spock to Pike. Nice one. That was about Spock doing his Vulcan horizontal mambo.
That's if he would have said that, I would have been like, I don't care of any opinion I had of you prior to this moment.
You're a boss.
You're a god, and I'm okay with what you're doing.
I would have been like, am I watching the Orville? What's going on here?
Really, like the casting of Deprang. Jeez.
Yeah, no, that was good. Archmage Frey says, I was half expecting Spock to be hallucinating Michael Berman half the time. I really enjoyed this, though. That's great. And he said, I thought I was going to hate La'an, but she was great. We agree.
Yeah. So what did you guys think of this? Like, not just in the chat, but in the chat. And if you guys watch this after the fact, let it hit the comment section. Let us know what you thought of Strange New Worlds. It's like, did you like it? Well, like,
Yeah,
I
we
know
wanna hear it, for
number
sure.
scores suck, but like, tell us really, how did you feel about it? If you haven't watched it and you're watching this, like, for the love of God, go watch it. Oh my God. I'm pretty sure the first episode is free. You don't even got to sign up for Paramount. It's such good Trek. So we have come to the conclusion this is great. This is amazing. We're very happy with it. Let us know what you think of Strange New Worlds, please.
Yeah. Archmage says only one I'm iffy on is Ortegas, but she had little to do. Yeah, we didn't get to know that character real well. She had that one nice comment in the chair that was like, "This always happens when I'm in the chair."
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny.
What's funny?
Nothing. We don't know her yet, though. Really.
What's funny is I said the same thing to Shane off air before the show. I was like, Ortega was the only one I wasn't. I don't know if she's gonna be like the new Trek kind of character or old Trek, but we didn't see enough for us to know. So far so good.
Right. Let's see. And he says even with that little, they all still have more development than any secondary crew from Disco. 100% true.
It's true, yeah. I still don't know any of the people's names in Disco. Do you know? Any of them? A single bridge crew member.
Wait, let me think.
Oh my God. I don't remember.
Dang.
I've
seen all the seasons.
I've seen all the seasons too. I don't remember a single name of the bridge crew.
Robot faced girl. What's Katie?
Oh my God.
I don't remember. That's that. Well, that tells you everything you need to know. The characters are not memorable.
Wow. That's crazy.
They're just not memorable, man.
And now one episode. La'an, Ortega, Nabenga, Chappelle. Now, granted, Chappelle is a common name.
Well, some of them are legacy characters, so you're gonna remember them. But they're definitely stick out a little better for us.
All right.
So it says, "Sorry, I'm back. Had to do some captain stuff." Oh, I see. Let's see. The bridge looks 25% too large. Trekker, 25% too large. Oh, that's funny.
I mean, it did look a little bigger than the other bridge, but they had to make it bigger. They had to.
They did. Let's see. We're gonna skip that comment because yes, there are good people. Technology. She was named Una in a novel from a time ago. They just took it and made it canon. That's interesting because whoever wrote that novel, shame on them. That's all it is. Shame on you. Bad writing for your novel. I haven't even read the story, but if you named her Una, bad on you.
Right.
And let's see. Let's see. All right. I think that's it.
Okay. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe on the way to the comment section. Let us know what you guys thought about Strange New Worlds. And it is time, my friends, for us to move to the members section. We love you so much. We're glad you're here. But we are going to be moving to the members section. I'm going to put the link right now in the chat, just in case.
Oh, and if you're still listening right as you go at the end of this thing here, if you're not coming over to the members section with us, then make sure you do. Did you already put the link down for Liquid IV? Probably not yet, huh? Make sure you guys, if you leave this video, go check out Liquid IV. Use the Popcast for 25% off a purchase. You're not going to regret. It's the best sports drink we've ever had.
Yeah, let me pop that back.
Thank you.
Look at this cool animation, you guys. Look at that.
I do dig it. Yeah, it looks hot.
So sweet. Yes, but we are going to the members section. Again, you can find the link in the chat, in the description, and on the screen, popcast.co/join. There is no reason not to know where to go. So if you want to join us in the members section, we are going over there. We're going to finish out the show in that section. Thank you so much for being here. If we're not going to see you in the members section, then I hope that we'll see you tomorrow and next week, because next week we're going to be covering Strange New Worlds again, and without the baggage of Picard. So even better.
So as we switch over here, they can still hear us, right?
Yeah, just they can hear us for a couple more seconds. Yeah.
I just want to shout out the Marshall who threw a comment here at the very end of the show. First time chatter, long time lurker. So hi everyone. Hi the Marshall.
Oh, let me turn the screen back on for you.
Glad you're here. It says, while I am happy with what we got with Strange New Worlds, I'm not giving Paramount any respite. They have a lot of wrongs to right. Hopefully they do. 100% true. They're definitely not off the hook. Strange New Worlds needs to kick butt all season long. And then the next project they do, whatever the next new IP that they decide they want to go forward with, hopefully maybe even Section 31, it needs to also have the same growth and flavor for all the fans.
Agreed. All right, we're going to the member section. See you guys later. See you in the members section, hopefully, because the water's warm. Shane keeps peeing in the water. I keep telling him not to.
It's because I got to go pee. That's what it is.
Okay, we are in the members section.
3 hours.
You
4 hours. Oh my gosh, it's been 4 hours.
You want to go pee real quick while I'm doing this?
Sure.
If you really got to go pee, make it snappy. Okay.
I think I make it a little longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what's up, my friends? Thank you for being here. Thank you, Jeremy, Kenneth, whoever else is here. Hiroshi. Thank you. So we are going to be talking about Thor: Love and Thunder, Lon Noonien Singh, and the fact that she's not like a regular con. And this is what Shane wrote down. Okay.
Did I write down?
Holy bleep! The new Obi-Wan trailer is bleep bleep.
I loved it.
Referring to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Says that's
I love the new Obi-Wan trailer.
That's what we're going to talk about right now.
I guess you're right. I can't believe you're right. I must have been really excited to write that down.
So we're talking about Obi-Wan, Lon Noonien Singh again, and Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah. Well, I thought the Lon Noonien Singh thing was good because I know we just talked about her a whole bunch, but she actually did an interview afterwards, and I thought it would shed some light because it's basically on how she is like Khan and isn't like Khan. And we know she's related to Khan. So I'm like, wow, this is the first look at like what she's going, how that relationship's going to be. So I want to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah. Don't we have some insight we can share with the members too?
About Strange New Worlds? Oh, about what's coming?
Do you want to share that with them?
Well, if we ever get off this live stream.
Oh, wait, we're still on there? Wait. All right. Sorry, guys. If you guys are listening to the other stream, I'm sorry. I got to close this so that